I'm gonna let the room build up a little bit before I jump in. If you in the chat right now, let me know how my sound is. If you could hear me pretty clear, either give me I don't know, drop something in the chat. Just let me know that y'all can hear me. Okay, appreciate that. Appreciate that. Yeah, I'm gonna let YouTube send out notifications and just let the room build up a little bit. If you here now, please hit the like button for me so they could, push the stream to a wider audience. And my initial plan tonight was to kind of talk about some of the mental aspects of running a box truck business. And I've got multiple, or at least a couple different requests for me to touch on this cheap freight debate. Okay. And honestly, I thought I put this thing to bed like a couple weeks ago, but apparently it's still alive and well. So I want to take some time tonight to kind of touch on some of the, I guess, rebuttal that I've gotten for a live stream that I did maybe, I don't know, 2 weeks or so ago. And I want to take time to kind of clear up a few things that I said in that particular live stream. I guess some people may have felt that some of the things that I said was a little on the radical side. And I may be over exaggerating that a little bit. But I guess some of the statements that I made in that live stream, came off a little outlandish to certain individuals. What's happening, Great Polo? I see you. What's going on? But yeah, so I had a topic at hand, but I also want to touch on a few of the things that I touched on and just reiterate a few things as well. Okay, and I know a big thing that came up was the Deregulation Act of 1980 and some statements that I made pertaining to that. Okay, I guess something that I said, because I did make a statement pertaining to the Deregulation Act, I guess that was kind of taken out of context, which happens. This is social media, so things are going to be interpreted differently depending on, who's taking the information in. But I guess a few of the statements that I made, kind of came off, like I said, a little on the radical side. So that's kind of one of the first things that I want to clear up. And I believe what I said, and I have not rewatched the live stream, but I mean, it's what I said. I was being honest and as real as I could be in that stream. So one of the things that I said was that I cannot base my business off of something that occurred before I was born. Okay, and I feel like that may have been slightly taken out of context, which I still feel the exact same way. And I understand the reason why deregulation occurred. It was to create competition and also drive down prices for the customer. I understand that. Okay, but the point I was making when I made this statement that I cannot base my business off of something that occurred before I was born. Let me rephrase that. Not only do I kind of want to double down on it, but what I want to say is I do not have to accept or factor that in to the way I operate or run my business. That's the point I was making. I understand why it occurred. I get that. Okay. But the point I was making is I refuse to let that be a factor on how I choose what race I choose to run for or whatnot. Okay. It was done too, in my opinion, somewhat, put carriers against each other. I don't have to play into that. Okay. It is what it is. It happened. I'm glad it happened. It did make way for a lot of individuals to be here today. I understand that as well. But what I'm saying is I refuse to run my business based off of that. It's not that I'm ignorant to the facts at hand. It's that I'm saying that I refuse to base my business off of that, and I don't have to. And if I did have to, then I would choose to do something else with my time. And up until this point, I've been able to run my business without taking this into account. Like I said, I understand it, but that does not factor into how I book my loads, what rates I choose to drive for, and so forth. So that's what I meant when I said that, not being ignorant to the facts, but saying that I'm not going to adhere to or factor that into how I'm running my business, period. And knowing that it was done to create competition is more of an incentive for me not to. I don't got to compete. I said this in another live stream. I'm going to double down on this too. Out here in this box truck game business, whatever you want to call it, I feel like it's a bunch of different types of individuals. Everybody eats different. I don't have to compete with individuals for freight that I don't feel that is worthy of me running my truck, period. I let them do that. So that's what I mean when I said that everybody eats different. You see what I'm saying? Some people are okay with, running for a lesser than, and then you say, well, okay, people need the lower cost. I understand that too. But let's be realistic here. How much can you actually lower costs in today's time with inflation and so forth? Insurance is insurance. You can't make those prices. You can shop your company around, but overall, when it really comes down to it, you got to pay whatever the bill is. That's what you're going to have to foot. So you could try to lower costs, and then individuals say, well, you could go with an older truck. That's cool too. But most individuals, once again, just being realistic, people with older trucks are keeping those trucks local. Once again, we not competing for the same, whatever you want to call it. The loads that I'm running, an individual in an older truck is not going to run 350 miles out, 350 miles back, 700 miles in one night. Show me old trucks that's out here doing that. It may be some, but are they abundant? No, they not. I'm out here every day. The older trucks stay local or regional. They don't take them over the road much because they're older trucks. Also, I was just talking to somebody and they like that whole old truck thing, is a fad. Why? Homeboy called a broker. They want a picture of the inside of his door jamb with the year and the make and the model of his truck. And they want pictures of the outside and the box and so forth. But they want pictures of the actual door jamb, and they want to make sure that your truck is a 2014 or newer. They're not going to even allow you to run their freight in a lot of these older trucks. So Amazon accepts, old trucks. Some brokers, if you get plugged in with them the right way, they may accept older trucks. But once again, being realistic. Okay, we ain't gonna fairy tale or say, well, you could do this or you could do that. Let's talk about what you could realistically do with an older truck. Not much. You got to keep that local. So that's another thing that factors into driving down costs, because you say, well, if you got an older truck, then you can compete more with. No, you really can't, because you can't do what a newer truck could do. You cannot book the loads that a newer truck can book. So how can you actually even compete for the same freight that a newer truck is going to be competing for? Say, like I said, a 2014 or a newer. How you going to compete with that in a 99 when most of the brokers are not even going to put freight in that truck, period? Like I said, this not coming from me. This somebody's experience with a broker. A few brokers recently, they want a picture of that door jam. If you ain't running a 2014 or a newer, then they not messing with you. So go ahead and get you an old truck. Go ahead and get out here and see. Your opportunities are going to be limited. I don't care what nobody tell you. This is what I'm telling you. Your opportunities in an older truck are going to be limited. No way you're going to be able to compete with individuals in newer trucks. If I'm a broker, me knowing what I know, I don't want to put my freight in a 99. If I could avoid it, maybe if it's last minute and I had no other way to move this freight, then maybe I would just throw it in an older truck. But if I could help it, I'm not throwing my load into an older truck, just to do it. So you just got to really know what's going on out here on a day-to-day basis. It's getting stricter and stricter, with these brokers and different customers and what they're allowing you to and not to do. It was a lot you could do 2-3 years ago. Even with Amazon, we see that the whole game with Amazon is changing. I'm warning everybody right now. Let me take the time out to do that. They automating everything. The scoring system, they starting to automate that. It's going to be less and less things that you're going to be able to dispute. AI finna reject that. No, it wasn't weather related. No, this was carrier controllable. So I'm constantly seeing different things within Amazon's app converting over to AI, and they're still allowing you to, they're even taking away what you could dispute. Like they said, weather and something else, that's not even going to be reviewed by Amazon's team going forward. They're going to have AI review those disputes, and they're probably going to kick them right back out. That's how that's going to work. So you could look forward to that happening in the near future as well. But that's the point I'm making. Everything's getting stricter and stricter. So stuff that was, loosely, applied to what you could or could not do is changed now. So be careful when you try to go jump in a older truck, and just know you could do that and you could make money. You could do whatever you put your mind to, but at the end of the day, your opportunities are going to be limited. Listen to what I'm saying. Your opportunities are going to be limited. I don't care what nobody telling you. So go jump in a 99 or a 01 or a 02. The brokers are not going to give you freight. Point blank, period. Like I said, you could keep it local. You can run it with Amazon. Amazon don't care what you put their freight in, because most of their freight, realistically, how far are you going with it? 100, 200, 300 miles max. Once again, older trucks can run Amazon because they pretty much local to regional. But when you start talking about going over the road, 2, 3, 4, 5 states over, man, them old trucks ain't doing that. Go pay attention to when you out on the road and you get 200 miles from home, how many of them older internationals, because them popular inner city, old internationals, a lot of people got those. But go out into, deep southern Indiana and, in the Kentucky, and you're not gonna see them trucks. Them trucks staying at the crib. They by the crib. You see what I'm saying? You're not gonna see those trucks over the road for real. So, to each his own, do what you want, but that's just my warning. Your opportunities are going to be severely limited in an older truck. So that's a part of it too. And why I'm talking about that, because that's the main way you're going to have a cost that's less than $1 per mile. Let's tell the truth. Like, we just gonna keep it real tonight. How many individuals got a cost per mile around $1? They say that because they don't know they cost per mile. So that's the first thing a person think, about $1. But realistically, once you calculate it, who cost per mile right now is $1? Even $1.25. Somebody drop it in the chat right now if you got a cost per mile $1.25, $1.30. No. I know what's really going on. People cost per mile $1.50, $1.75, $2. Okay, so how are you possibly able to run a lot of these loads that's popping up on these load boards like Amazon? I hear that, the rates have always been the same. Why they keep dropping though? Every week the rates get lower. I could bring people up here that's seeing the same patterns that I'm seeing. Stuff that used to go for $210, $215, for a short run, drop down to $190. It stayed like that for a month or two. Now they $170. So if we keep with this trend and follow this pattern in 2 months, if we don't have a peak season, the average going rate for Amazon probably be $1.40 per mile. And they stubborn. They're not raising the rates. It take hours and hours and hours. Like, I'm right now running 3 or 4 Amazon loads a week. So, and I'm thankful that I'm not having to, which I'm gonna make it do what it do regardless. I've done it for years and years. I know how to work ways around their system and constantly adapt to whatever they change. But at the same time, man, who want to, like I said, and I'm not talking down on Amazon at all, but the point I'm making is it's getting rougher and rougher to make it make sense. It's loads to run every night, but when I'm looking cost wise and trying to find something that's actually profitable and worth my time, and that's something else that let me finish this first. It's not a lot out there. That's the point I was making. When it come down to what's available, I can run a load every night. Would it be profitable? Not really. So that's kind of where we at right now. But that's the point I was about to make and jump ahead to. Something else that I kind of touched on was with your cost per mile and, running at, because we had that conversation. What's cheap freight? I think I answered that. I answer it again. Anything that you're running, and I'm doubling down and also saying, if you running at, because everybody said less than, I said at. If your cost per mile $1.52 and you regularly running for $1.52, you're not making no money. You pretty much running for fun. So I'm not saying less than your cost per mile. I'm saying cheap freight, in my opinion, would be anything that is your cost per mile or less on a regular basis. Now, because I was talking to somebody about this, I don't want to get took out of context. I know how stuff go. If you OTR, man, do what you got to do. This does not apply. In some situations, you may have to move at or less than your cost per mile just to get from one place to another. I think I already said this. But like I said, things get taken out of context. So I want to be clear on what I'm saying. If you OTR, this does not apply. If you run an Amazon, you local or regional, you have no business running at or below your cost per mile on a regular basis. You see what I'm saying? You had no business doing that. You can do what you want, But the point I'm making is you not making no money doing that. So people could take it how they want to. So that's my opinion on what cheap freight is. Another question that keep coming up, because I heard this and I'm gonna touch on this as well. Who is they? Because people, they want to know who they is. I want to clear that up today as well. They. We gonna find out who they is tonight. That's one thing that I want to figure out tonight. Who's taking the cheap freight? Who they is. I want to figure that out tonight. So we're gonna touch on that as well. Who are the people that's actually taking the cheap freight? Because we never got to that. They right. We never got to who's actually the culprit of the cheap freight shenanigans. So I want to talk about that. We're going to get to that as well. But like I said, you know, I wanted to touch on all of this because it was different things that I said, you know, and I wanted to clear up. Let me look at the comments for a second. But we're gonna get into all of this tonight. It's a few things that I want to touch on and clear up. Like I said, I was gonna do something different, but then a couple people was like, people wanted me to touch on this topic again. So I felt like it was some things that still needed to be cleared up. So that's why I'm doing this. But I want to look at the comments for a second and just not let y'all get too far ahead of me real quick. Six-foot reefer loads. No, I'm not familiar with those at all. Oh, you said 26 foot. Oh, I see you. Not particularly, but if you know how to filter and kind of go through DAT's load board, because I currently don't use DAT. I last used DAT when I was in a Sprinter van, and that was kind of why I stopped using it, because back then it was extremely hard to find Sprinter van loads on DAT. You know, you had to look and search a certain type of way. And yeah, it was an issue with me finding loads. So it was easier for me to find contracts, use apps, and so forth to move my van until I signed on with you know, the expedited shipping company. And that's how I finished up my Sprinter van days. But yeah, on DAT load board, depending on how you know how to filter, some loads that are for, and it depends on, is this a class B 26 footer or a non-CDL? Because that'll make a big difference too, the weight you could carry. So yeah, that's something you might want to think about. But I'm not really familiar with reefer loads. I'm just being 100% honest with you. But I know that if you know how to filter the load board correctly, you can work some loads that may say they call for like a 53 footer. You could actually carry in a CDL grade box truck. So that's something to think about. But I don't know a whole lot about those. I'm gonna just be honest with you. Raleigh, North Carolina in the building. I'm familiar with Raleigh. I knew a couple people down there from in the past. Slick, what's happening? I ain't seen you in a while, Slick. I was wondering about you. Where you been at? You making a whole lot of money? Lou Jackson, what's happening with you? Good to see you. Good to see you. Appreciate you. What if the 99 has been in business longer than that 2014? That's not going to persuade the broker to give you low, saying, you know, I got an older truck and this truck been in business 20 years or whatever. You know, an older truck, in my opinion, is an older truck. And they're going to look at the condition. If it's in extremely, you know, good condition, then some brokers, like I said, I'll be honest with y'all about all of the stuff that I've seen. When I signed on with the expedited shipping company, and I had a 2014 Sprinter van, and that was the last year they told me they were taking. I got there, and as I'm signing on, a guy pulls in a 2012. It's just as clean as my Sprinter van, and he got the extendo, so it's, you know, what, 2 feet or so. You don't see them that long that often. So yeah, he came in and I'm like, they signing you on? He like, yeah. I'm like, what year your van? He said 2012. They told him to bring it in. So like I said, if it's in really good condition, some brokers, shipping companies, and so forth may be flexible. But in a lot of situations, you know, they stand on those years, and for good reason. Like, that's what a lot of people don't know about DOT. Like, they are trained, you know, they do it to me, you know, and I've seen DOT my fair share of times. Like, in total, I think I've been pulled over by DOT 7 times, and that was 4 times last year. They was out here last year. They was pulling me over like every 2-3 months. And I mean, the only thing I got, I was in a rental with a chip windshield, and he gave me a warning. But the rest of them was clean. But no, they definitely was out here. I've seen DOT my fair share of time. They had me every time I seen them at some point last year. I was like, here we go again. Like, it was, man, it was like every time they saw me, I'm in different trucks, they still micing me. I'm like, what? They like, man. So yeah, DOT, when they coming down the road, they are trained. You know, they looking. That's why sometimes they'll sit on the side of you and just look at you. And they be just looking at your whole truck, you know, seeing if it's leaning, looking at your tires, you know, looking for rust around the bolts on the wheels and different things of that nature. You know, that's what they train to do. So you think it's always going to occur on the side of the road. DOT sometimes inspect you without pulling you over, especially in the daytime. They'll just look at you and check you out. And if it don't look like they gonna get a violation, because that's why they're out there. They don't pull you over to not give you a violation. So once they pull you over to the side of the road, you gonna get at least a warning for the most part. Or, you know, sometimes with the semis, they like to look at their log books. So they might get a clean, you know, inspection because they probably pulled them over to check their logs. But most of the time when they pull you over, they already seen a violation. I know a female, she drives semis. She's been driving semis probably 10 years now. And I think she about probably 35. And she said one time she passed a DOT officer on the side of the road. He had somebody else pulled over. True story. She say 5 minutes later, he was on her, put the lights on her. So she pulled over. She said, you know, why you pulled me over? He said, you got a nail in your tire. She said, how you know that? He said, I heard it. She said, what? He said, I heard it. Come on, let's go back here and find it. He took her back there and found a nail in her tire. He heard the nail when she went by him. Can't make this up. And that was a violation. So that's what I mean when I'm saying, when you saying about taking older trucks over the road, you know your DOT number, all of that's on the line when you out here on a day-to-day basis. So, you know, it's up to you how you want to run your business. You know, I can't tell people, you know, what to do and what not to do. I could just advise you off of my experiences. And if you choose to go out and do whatever you choose to do, or what somebody else tell you to do, then so be it. But don't be shocked if a year or two down the line, you trying to get out of that 99 and get in a new truck, because it was a contract that was lucrative, but you couldn't get it because you had an old ass truck. I'm just being 100% honest with you. They wouldn't give you that contract. They liked you, the way you presented yourself. You know, they checked your DOT, your MC, it was clean, but you had an old truck. So that's why you couldn't get that dedicated route or that contract that you've been wanting and working so hard day in and day out, you know, to get. Don't let that be the reason why you can't, get something, and it due to being equipment because you want it to be cheap and, get an old truck because whoever told you to do that. You see what I'm saying? So this is my advice to you. Y'all, like I said, y'all can do what y'all want. You don't gotta listen to me. I don't know nothing. I'm just telling y'all what I'm telling y'all from my experience. I never claimed to be the smartest man in the world. To this day, I still make mistakes. I'm working on myself day by day. But what I'm telling y'all is I'm giving y'all my honest opinion from my experiences. I wouldn't go out and get a 99 or 01 or 02 or 03. But if that's how you want to start your business and you want to try your luck, then so be it. You do that, but I'm telling you, you're going to be limited on your opportunities, whether you like it or not. Lou Jackson said anything you run under $1.50 per mile is cheap freight. And see, that's kind of what I was kind of getting to. And I got a little sidetrack. I'll be talking fast, but I, say your cost per mile hypothetically is $1.52. I'm, honestly not even trying to be running at $2. I don't like that's what I'm saying. Why I don't have to base my business and the way I operate off of whatever somebody say I'm supposed to be doing because of whatever reason. Oh, this is why. No, it's not. Like I said, I don't feel like I have to adhere to certain things. So just what I'm getting at is I feel like if my cost per mile is $1.52, I'm trying to be running at $2.50 per mile or better. I'm trying to make like $1 per mile. Both ways. See, I'm getting crazy. Both ways. Not one, both ways. I want to be at least profiting $1 per mile going that 180 miles and coming back. You see what I'm saying? That's how I'm operating. Now, your cost per mile $1.52. You want to run for $1.52. We eat different. Like I ain't holding that against you, but I don't want to run for $1.52. That's not sufficient. You see what I'm saying? For an OTR guy that's stuck in the boonies, that need to get out, do it. You dumb if you don't. Get up out of there. $1.30, but they paying you to go over here, and it's more. Go. Regionally, locally, why you taking $1.30, $1.40, $1.50 a mile? You not applying yourself. See, that's the problem. You're not applying yourself. See, you just take whatever come your way. That's how you live your life. You see, and like I said, that's cool. If that's how you want to operate and run your business, then do that. That's not how I operate. So me personally, yes, if my cost per mile $1.52, I'm trying to be running for, honestly, just to be telling the truth, like $3 a mile. But that's like $3 a mile right now is like $5 a mile back in the day. Like that's a lot of money for real. Things have changed. And I don't try to hide or sugarcoat the fact that things have changed. And you just have to adjust and adapt to what's occurring around you. Like, I just watch everything. Like, I'm pulling in Amazon now. And like I said, I'm in there sometimes 2, 3, 4 nights a week because I have my, dedicated route. So I'm pretty much putting that as priority. I get in Amazon when I can. That just kind of right now is like just supplementing. So I pulled in there. The last time I pulled in there, this the thought that went through my head. No BS. It's like half and half in here. It's like half and half in here. It's half regular truck, half Amazon truck. Don't nobody know this though. They still in there just playing around, talking to the people inside. I'm just looking around like, man, it's half and half. It was like a third. So the ratio is just steadily getting greater. Amazon trucks compared to, the owner operators. Like I said right now, it's like what I saw, pull it on a lot. This was one night. So I didn't do, you know, just I didn't compare night after night. One night I pulled in there, it was half and half. At the time I pulled in there, meaning it was half Amazon trucks, half owner operators, half blue and half. So that's just telling you right there what's going on. They are constantly and slowly but surely, but they are constantly adding trucks. And see, they run their business the right way. So see, they add a few trucks, they calculate what it's costing us, how many drivers we need, and so forth. Okay, this how this working. Then they add some more. And they understand, what they have to pay out to run whatever trucks and so forth. But yeah, you constantly seeing more and more Amazon trucks, on a daily basis. And even during the daytime, that's another thing I'm noticing. Initially, they was all at night doing postal runs. If you're familiar with the Chicagoland area, you know about Moni and Crest Hill and all these other different spots that people go to for freight during the day. They in them spots too. That's half and half too. So you seeing Amazon trucks coming and going, running Amazon during the day. So it went from, and I'm just explaining to y'all so people understand what's occurring, because like I said, when I'm and people notice, but when I'm in the facilities, people are doing the same things they was doing a year or two ago. It's like nobody see what's going on. But like I said, as soon as I pull on the lot, I'm noticing like, yeah, things are starting to look different, and you're seeing the trucks during the day. So that's why I'm kind of explaining, this to you guys, just to let y'all know, as we constantly move forward, even for peak, them trucks gonna be around. So that's cutting into a lot of, the freight, as well as this normal process of elimination that Amazon got going on, where the rules are getting so strict that they weeding a lot of individuals out. I just saw somebody was complaining about getting banned for not taking Amazon routes, not following. I never heard that. But somebody said they got banned because they wasn't following Amazon's GPS. So I don't know if they were warned. Half of this stuff, now I hear so many different things. I don't even, look into the details of exactly what occurred. But somebody got banned for not using the GPS, which I've never heard of anybody having an issue with that. But like I said, the rules on a day-to-day basis are just getting stricter and stricter overall pertaining to Amazon. So that's just something to think about. They're getting more trucks. They're implementing AI all the way through the app, from the photos and the facial recognition down to the dispute processes for weather and something else. So they're constantly making changes day by day. And yeah, it's not for no reason, and then, you know, to replenish your performance score once that drops, now they have different scenarios for you to do that. You got to run 6 weeks active and so forth. So all the way around the board, it's getting tougher and tougher pertaining to Amazon and just overall, you know, inbox trucking in general. And that's kind of what I was talking about with the trucks. They're stricter and stricter on what they're allowing you to run in. Lou Jackson say, I'm not taking low paying freight. Exactly. Like, I mean, it's just, the whole debate. Like, some people say it don't exist, and then the verbiage change. I think they trying to trick us. Somebody playing with somebody's trying to trick us. Cause see, I think they had a point. And let me touch on that right now. I think they had a point. Cause somebody had said that the freight ain't cheap, it's expensive. So I was trying to, and I'm like, at first I'm like, no. And then I'm like, no, if you really think about it, they might have got a point. Maybe it is expensive. Are we all stupid and it's expensive and not cheap? Are we not using the right verbiage? Is that where we going wrong at? Or is it expensive and cheap? Maybe that's it. Maybe it's expensive and cheap. So I think what they saying is it's expensive cost-wise for us to run. I think that's it. And it's cheap in what it pays out to us and our business. I think that's how this is going. So it's cheap, but it's expensive. If that make any sense. Like I said, somebody playing with our head. I'm gonna figure this out. But I think they got a point. Somebody tell me, because see, they confused. They trying to confuse us with the verbiage. That's what's happening here. Because I was thinking about it, and I was trying to come up with some rebuttal, and I'm like, maybe they got a point. So it's cheap and it's expensive. But I think we all can agree that in most situations, you should not be running. Now, can we agree on that? We may not agree on the verbiage, but in most situations, like I said, not pertaining to the OTR guys, we're not going to talk about them. But as far as local, regional, in most of these situations, whether it be expensive or cheap, expensive for you to run, cheap in what it pays you, however you want to look at it, you really shouldn't be running it. I think that's the kind of point that we was all trying to get to. But I get it. They got us. It's expensive and cheap. I give them that. But the point I'm making is, like I said, at the end of the day, you have to choose what you should or should not run. I've already said that. That's not up to me. But, there's another thing that comes up. Why are y'all concerned? Because just keep coming up to, why are y'all concerned with other owners? That's a good question too. Why are y'all concerned? Well, me, because I can't speak for other people. But when I say me, why am I concerned with other individuals? Well, I have an email. I have individuals that contact me for different services. Not so much now as in the past, but I still get contacts for different services on a somewhat regular basis. Okay. So the point that I'm making is I can't tell you how many individuals go out because they uneducated, on how they should be running their business, and something else I'm gonna get to, because like I said, we got to talk about who they is, because see, this gonna all tie into each other. But you have individuals that will dig theyself into a hole, and then they'll try to come pay me $100 to get them out. And I'm not making this up. An individual will come to me with their business in disarray and expect for me to get them out of 2-3 years of running in the red. They want a solution. They need options. And they want to pay me $100 to figure all of this out. You see what I'm saying? So this is why I'm concerned with they. Okay. And let's just get into that, because this is another thing I tell them. I don't want to hear the sad story. I don't. A lot of times it don't be worth the trouble. Like I said, people want to give you $100 to repair years of just never doing the right thing. You built the whole foundation wrong. And then you want to just kindly, and that's why people throw money around, because they so desperate. And sometimes it'll even be they last. But they so desperate to get out of these situations that they put themselves into. You see what I'm saying? That they go to him, me, him. And they throw money at people to try to get them out of these situations. So this is why I try to educate individuals beforehand and say, hey, if you do this, then this gonna happen. You see what I'm saying? Now, you could think cheap freight don't exist. You could take that avenue as well. But like I said, when you get yourself dug in that hole, don't come try to give me $100 to help get you out. See, and this is how we're gonna get today, because I want to talk about that. What people need to do is go over to the Stand On Box Truck Business Podcast. Shout out Mark the Mentor. That's a great podcast. He got a few of them. Go tell your story. You see what I'm saying? Don't call me. Go over there to the Stand On Box Truck Business Podcast. Tell your story. And I'm going to sit back quietly. I ain't going to say nothing. I'm going to listen. I don't say nothing. I'm going to listen. Because, see, I love to hear y'all lie. I love to hear y'all lie. So I'm going to sit there quietly, and you go tell your story about how you did all the wrong stuff and cheap freight didn't exist, and you did this, that, and the third to dig yourself in that hole. You see what I'm saying? And I'm just being 100% honest with you. That's what individuals need to do. And I want to watch, because I'm just not going to entertain it. I'm going to leave it at that. I'm not going to entertain it. And that leads me into my next point, because we got to talk about who they is. We definitely got to get to that. I want to get that, sorted out tonight. Okay, so when we talk about they, I mentioned the podcast. Like I said, it's a great outlet for individuals, and I'm being 100% honest. I'm not being funny at all. It's a great outlet for individuals to go and to tell their story. And I admire the individuals that's brave enough, because a lot of individuals aren't. We already know that most people, they make all of these different excuses for why, but it's some honest individuals that have disclosed things that I probably would have never disclosed. I'm just being 100% honest. And that's why I say it's a great outlet for individuals. So now that we're talking about these podcasts, he has a few of them that he does from time to time, and I catch them here and there. I watch them, I listen, I don't say nothing, I listen. Now, every individual I ever seen on any of these podcasts, because we got to figure out who they is, right? So every individual that I have ever seen on these podcasts, you know, majority of the time, they don't know anything. Let's just be honest. They don't know anything. But one of the main things that nobody ever touch on, nobody ever point out of the dozens and dozens, maybe over 100, I don't know. It's been a bunch of individuals that have graced those podcasts. And he does a great job sitting back and letting these individuals tell their story. He way more patient than I could ever be. Like, I couldn't, because I watched and I'm like, oh no. You got all type of different characters just popping up out the woolworths. And like I said, the stories are interesting. But what I found ironic about all of these individuals that grace these podcasts, out of all of the questions that they get asked that they don't know, what was your fuel cost for last week? I don't know. What are you paying for this per week? And go watch. I'm not making this up. I'm not being funny. The main response I watch over and over, I almost know what they're going to say before they say it. What did you pay for this just last week? I don't know. They don't know. But one of the main things that nobody knows is they cost per mile. So, like I said, out of dozens and dozens of individuals that have graced these podcasts, I know some people here watch. If you watch these podcasts, please tell me how many of these individuals, when this man asked them, because I'm proving a point, I'm going somewhere, but I need y'all to help me out. How many of these individuals knew they cost per mile? Somebody drop it in the chat. I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna give y'all a minute. But somebody, if you follow these podcasts, somebody please tell me how many of these individuals, when they got this question, what's your cost per mile? How many knew that have actually been on the show? St. Louis 314 said a lot of them don't. Anybody got an exact number? But you right, St. Louis 314. I appreciate that. A lot of them don't. But does anybody? I know how many. But I'm just trying to see if any of the other followers. I know somebody got to be here that follows the channel. If you've watched them, how many have you seen that actually do? Nobody know? Lou Jackson. I'm going to cash app you, bro. Inbox me. 0. I have not seen one individual out of dozens and dozens and dozens, possibly over 100. I ain't going to ask y'all how many people been up there. A lot. It's been a lot of, and it's a lot of shows I missed. That's why I wanted to ask y'all. I appreciate Lou Jackson for dropping that in the comments. 0. Out of dozens and dozens of individuals, I'm sure dozens have been asked, because this is one of the main questions. What is your cost per mile? Not one person knew. So I say this. Now I'm gonna be modest, right? See, I told you I'm going somewhere with it, but I want to be modest because I don't never want to say all. But we got to figure out who is they. You see what I'm saying? That's why I say I'm making a point. So if out of dozens and dozens and dozens of individuals, nobody knew their cost per mile, how can you possibly be running profitable freight? How can you possibly, maybe by accident, every blue moon, but on a regular basis, realistically, we saying 90%, and I'm being nice because Lou Jackson just said 0. So I really could get up here and be bold and say 100% of the owner operators in today's times do not know they cost per mile. So they is them. That's who they is. If you don't know your cost per mile, we just determined that. He do the show. We're going to say 90%. I should say 100. So 9 out of 10 people, we could just pick 10 owner operators. 9 of them don't know they cost per mile. But they stepping on necks. How? You have never calculated your cost per mile. It's no way possible that you are educatedly running your business. It's no way possible. So when they say, who is they? That's why I said they is them. Every individual that ever went on that podcast that did not know they cost per mile, they is them. That's who running cheap freight. How could they not? They not even educated enough to know what's profitable and what's not. So how you picking loads and running your box truck business properly if you ain't never, ever calculated your cost per mile? And I'm not being funny or up here trying to tell jokes. I promise you I'm making a point. And somebody got to feel me. If you ain't never calculated your cost per mile, how are you running your business correctly? How you going to step on the next owner operator neck? And you don't even know the basics of running your business. Like, I'm the one give you a little leeway and say, initially, the first couple weeks, and that was a big debate, you know, what do you basing your cost per mile off of 100,000 miles? Something else that came up. It was in the past, but this came up too. You know, you can't base your cost per mile off of 100,000 miles. Well, when you're starting a trucking company, whether it be in a cargo van, sprinter van, a box truck, or a semi, day one when you start, you have not ran any miles. So you do not have a set of miles to go off of. And that's why initially most individuals go off of the 100,000 mile base. And then once you run your truck for 3-4 weeks, maybe a couple months, and you get an average on what you're running week by week, then you can kind of say, okay, I could base my costs off of exact mileage. But that's why I say I give you a little leeway. The first couple weeks, I understand. You figuring stuff out. You got to figure out what type of miles you running in a week's time to know what the average is to calculate your cost per mile. I understand that. I even give you the first 30 days. Individuals been in business 2 and 3 years ain't never took the time to calculate their cost per mile. I heard this. Oh, well, you know, people don't know arithmetic. They probably don't. I'm sure a lot of individuals in these trucks do not know simple arithmetic. That's no excuse. I'm finna tell y'all something personal. You see what I'm saying? That's no excuse. Not knowing simple arithmetic. Me, I'm an avid reader. I've been like this since fifth grade. I read hundreds of books before eighth grade. There's just some personal stuff about me. We was required in grammar school to read 8 books a marking period. I read like 50 books a marking period. No lie. Every marking period. So that's why some of the words people think I just read a lot. I've always read since grade school. But the point I'm making is I wasn't that good at math. You see, when I could add, I could subtract, I could multiply, but when then you get into all of that fractions and all, my brain just shut down. I stopped listening. I wander off in the class. I just tune them out. I just find a way to pass the class and keep going. I graduated high school. I went to college. I did, but the point I'm making is I was never great at math. You see what I'm saying? Man, before I left, because I was a CNC operator, before I left my CNC job, true story, I ain't trying to look good on the internet. Before I left my CNC job, I worked third. I told you the story before. I worked third shift. I was a machine operator. I put a head in the machine. I hit a button, it machined. 30 minutes later, I pulled it out. So most of the night, I sat on a computer. Bro, you can go on YouTube and Google how to divide and do fractions and least common denominators and all of that. And I just told you that I was horrible at math. The basics, cool. Once you got into trying to make me do all of it, my brain shut down. I stopped listening. I didn't even try. You see what I'm saying? Too many steps. You talking about take this and move this over here and then that. I'm cool. I'm gonna talk to buddy over here. What's happening? You know what I'm saying? So that's how my brain worked. I went on YouTube at the employer that I was working for and Googled how to do fractions. And before I started, they're gonna say I'm lying. They're gonna say I made all of this up, but I'm telling you the truth. I went online and I forget the name of, I wish I knew the name of the guys, but in a fun way, they taught you all of this stuff. And it's actually, and that's why I was able to learn it, because once you start to actually put certain stuff together, it's actually really simple. But if you don't know the processes to like come up with, the solution to the equations, then you're not gonna have a chance. So I was starting to have fun. I was doing more and more and more. Like, okay, I'm gonna do some more. Like, wow, I ain't never been able to do that. Like, boom, boom, boom. A plus, and if this, so it was just, the point I'm making is this: all this information, even the cost per mile. When you done with this live stream, go Google cost per mile. All of that's on YouTube. Whatever you weak at is right on YouTube. And if you take the time to Google this information, you can actually teach yourself and educate yourself on, like, you don't have to listen to me or whoever. You can educate yourself on this stuff if you just take the time. And that's kind of where I was starting to stream out, with, the mental part of all of this. I think a lot of where individuals are lacking, I don't think it's people are out here day to day going through the motions. They're doing the work. I feel like individuals mentally are making mistakes, and a lot of these mistakes I feel like come up due to discipline. I think that's just what it's an issue with, and everybody, myself included. Like I said, I'm a work in progress. I don't never get up here and play or plan or act like, I'm perfect. I work on things every day, and to me, that's the beauty of life, being able to get up every day and make changes and improvements, to get to wherever you want to be at. That's the reason why people wake up every day, because they want an opportunity to, change something. One day you might wake up and change something in your life that, you might have been trying to change forever. And one day it just fall into place. That's the same thing, with this grind, with this hustle on a day to day. When you out here in these, you may think that, man, everything going wrong, nothing working out, and it just ain't gonna happen. And one day you might wake up and something change. You just have to keep grinding and, stick with it. But like I said, individuals that are uneducated and refuse to educate themselves on certain aspects, like we talked about it, because yeah, I mean, that's just my honest feelings on everything. When we say who are they, well, they are 90% of the owner operators in today's trucking business in general. I think it goes outside of box trucking, because it's in cargo vans, even in semis. It's uneducated individuals in semis as well. So when we say, who is Davis, most people in these trucks today. I mean, I don't have a specific name, but like I said, it's most of the individuals that's operating. We see that. Unless somebody could prove me wrong, if everybody on probably 2-3 different podcasts will ask the question of what's your cost per mile and nobody knew, then I mean, who does? Why can't we find somebody that does? Because most individuals, like I said, are not calculating their costs and expenses. They're just running. And like I said, from time to time, individuals may have a profitable load fall in their lap. But most of the time, they don't know whether they running at a profit or a loss. They just running because they ain't never did. And it's years and years on end. That's why I told the story about educating yourself on different stuff on the internet. Like, you don't have to go and pay somebody for this information. How to calculate your cost per mile is right on the internet. You can figure that out in 5 to 10 minutes. You don't have to be a genius to know this. And like I said, it's been some debate on how you should calculate it or not. But like I said, you need to run 2 weeks to a month to get an average of what you're running weekly, mileage wise. And then you could get a definite on your cost per mile. You can't get a definite on your cost per mile the first day because you ain't ran no miles. So what you gonna base it off of? And that's why a lot of individuals base it off of the 100,000 mile model. And I will agree that a lot of individuals just leave it based off that. They never revisit it. But I said this in the past as well. At least every 3 months, you should be recalculating your cost per mile, because you're constantly adding or removing expenses within your business most of the time. Over a 6 months time frame, you may get rid of or add expenses into your business. So you're going to need to be recalculating your cost per mile each time you add or remove an expense, or it won't be 100% correct. It'll be close, but it's not going to be 100% correct. So like I said, starting now, I understand how the first couple weeks an individual may not 100% know their cost per mile. I'm going to even say you could go 30 days. After that, what really is your excuse on why you have no idea what it costs you to move your truck? And why did you want to come into business in the first place if you weren't going to educate yourself on some of the most simple, like it's not complicated. And that's why I say it's mental. It comes down to the mental aspect of things. Individuals not where they need to be mentally, because if they were, you would take the time to do this. And then people said, a lot of individuals don't know simple arithmetic. I'm going to take it a step further and say they do not want to know. They don't want to talk. Individuals don't want to talk about that. I'm just going to tell you the truth. They don't want to have that conversation. All individuals want to know is where the money at, how to get to the bag, who can they hire on or contract with to get rich. That's what everybody want to know. Like, let's tell the truth. A bunch of people right now, like, it's people watching this right now, and they like, that's me. I know I don't know my cost per mile. And damn, I've been in business 3 years. And when they done with this stream, they're not going to figure it out. I promise you. They're not going to go figure it out. They're going to get back in the truck and go try to find the bag. They're going to try to get rich without ever knowing their cost per mile. That's the goal. And I'm just being 100% honest with you. I hate to tell the truth. I don't hate to tell the truth. I hate to just be, people don't want to know. It ain't that they can't know. It don't that they don't got the ability to figure it out. They don't want to know. Ignorance is no excuse, because the information right there. I had a supervisor tell me that way back in the day. True story. I got in trouble for something. I was young. I was doing security. I was like 20 something years. I was young, but I went in somewhere talking about I didn't know. She said, ignorance is no excuse. You cannot use that you did not know to get out of situations. That does not work, especially when the information right there in your face. But you didn't know. No, ignorance is no excuse. We not going to accept that. So, like I say, to each his own, but we see nobody knows they cost per mile. Therefore, the repo man looking for they trucks. You see what I'm saying? The maintenance shop finna put a lien on they trucks. That's who did this day. This them. You know what I'm saying? They pay Amazon to run their freight. That's who they is. They pay Amazon to run their freight. They running from the repo man. You see what I'm this is who, when we say who are they, I'm telling you right now, all of the individuals that have graced these platforms that do not know they cost per mile, they is them. That's who they is. It's not hard. Nobody know they cost per mile. Man, it's easy. This easy work right here. They got to come, because all I'm saying is, like, it's easy work. Like, I'm just saying. That's why I said, like, yeah, whatever, man. Like I said, find me somebody that know they cost per mile. Do that. Somebody find me somebody that know they cost per mile. I give you a week. I give you a week. I give you a week to find me somebody that know they cost per mile. Because it ain't gonna happen. I've been waiting for somebody to just get on one of these platforms and say $1.58. That's all I've been waiting for. It has not happened. It has not occurred. So these are all the individuals that are supposedly undercutting. This is why they're doing it. You see what I'm saying? This is why they're able to run at such a cheap rate, because they have no idea what their cost is anyway. And then people think you do this for 2, 3, 4 weeks and you go out of business. No, I done said this many times. It's individuals, I don't know how they holding on. Like, I don't know how certain individuals are lasting with the freight that they choose to run. You know, they keep surviving and they keep keeping on. I guess they make enough to get by. You know, but like I said, everybody got to kind of decide, you know, what it is that, you know, they believe or don't believe. But like I said, you believe what you want. Cheap freight is real and it's getting ran every day. And anybody that don't believe so, like I said, coming because it's not just the running of the freight. You know, Amazon has turned a lot of individuals into almost employees. It's not just like you drive, they load the truck and you go. No, you have to go here, badge in, you know, check in, load the truck, wait to check out, transport the freight, you know, go. So to me, it's bigger than just transporting the freight. We doing a lot more than that. You got to see the entire process to realize what individuals will do for $1. You see what I'm saying? You got to really come see the whole process to realize what people are doing for 215, 220, 230 a mile. You see what I'm saying? So if you got to be there to see it. That's all I'm gonna tell you. You have to be there to see it. And then you'll have more of an understanding on why a lot of individuals feel the way they feel pertaining to this whole cheap freight debate, if you want to call it that. Dragonfly says happens in a lot of industries with a abundance of suckers. I mean, and people just uneducated. That's what it comes down to. And like I said, people are comfortable with not knowing. You know, and I encourage everybody. Like, if you are an individual, like I'm not here to talk about nobody. You know, I had to learn. It's still things today that I'm still learning and implementing and changing my system on how I'm running my business, being 100% honest. Every day is a learning. Something dawned on me like, damn, all this time you ain't been doing this and you knew you what, why didn't you think of this? So I'm still picking up and learning stuff every day. And I challenge you guys because, like I said, it's a mental thing and it comes back to discipline. I understand how hard it is to take 3, 4, even 2 hours out of your day and sit there at that computer and go through that paperwork. Like, tell the truth. Like, go through that paperwork. You on the road 3, 4, 5 days a week. You got mail this big. You ain't went through none of that. That's a mental thing. You see what I'm saying? Because you out, you moving around, you doing this, you spending money, but it could be something pertinent pertaining to your DOT, insurance, BOC3, your business filings, and so forth. This is what I'm saying about it being mental and all relating back to discipline. Like, I've been in these situations as well. I have to I make lists. That's another thing. Like, I got so many sticky notes. You know, I keep sticky notes with me. I make lists all the time, you know, because it's easy to forget things. You see what I'm saying? Especially, like, that's what I'm saying. I think a lot of people take this stuff for granted, you know, how much it takes to run a business. And a lot of people, we single owner operators with a truck. We got a back office and all of this other stuff that we need to tap into that get neglected oftentimes that nobody talk about. It's a big secret. People neglecting a lot of stuff while they in these trucks. Because you can't be your secretary and your back office and your accountant and the driver and the dispatcher and the guy that's answering the calls. We getting 15 to 30 spam calls a day with people trying to sell us different services. I got people trying to offer me 2 and 3 different business loans a day. How can you possibly, as one individual, like complete all of these tasks? That's why I say I know how rough it is. But you jumped out here. But I'm in the truck. So that's why I'm realistic on the facts that I know it's a mental thing, and it come back to disciplining yourself to say, I'm finna sit down and do what need to be done today. You see what I'm saying? I know y'all know, people in the chat right now, y'all know that y'all go through this, being able to tackle different things that need to be done on a day-to-day basis, because it's so many different things. It's not one or two. Sometimes I got a list of 8 to 12 different things I need to do. When I make them, I know 5 or 6 of them things not getting done. But if I could get through like 7, that's a win for me. You see what I'm saying? Some people start a day running a business. They don't check off one box of nothing that they did to push their business forward, make progress, clear up any type of paperwork, open issues, or anything. This is what I'm saying. That comes back to a mental thing and directly relates to discipline. And so that's what I challenge everybody to work on that's watching right now. Your discipline. That's where it's all stemming from. You're not stupid. These people are not dumb. They not disciplined. They don't want to do the work. They don't want to know their cost per mile. They don't want to take the time to figure different stuff out that they need to know. That's the problem. You say, well, it's the trucks or it's this. No, it's discipline. People think they're going to start a trucking company and just drive the truck. That's it. They don't want to hire nobody to do nothing. They won't do it themselves. So this to me is, like I said, what a lot of this, and that's kind of what my stream was going to touch on. And there was a few other things that I was going to go into, which I won't go into today because I'm not done, but I'm just saying it was a whole lot of more mental stuff that I wanted to touch on, because it's not just business that's mental. In my opinion, it's life in general. A lot of the obstacles that, we face on a day-to-day basis, directly relates back to being disciplined. And you're going to face challenges, but it's just how you deal with them that's going to determine, whether you're successful or not, even within business. Nobody told you was going to start a trucking company. And that's something I'm going to get to too, because, a lot of people just think that you start a trucking company and you're going to work, you're going to bust your ass, and eventually you get to the bag. You get rich. People think they're going to get rich with a trucking company, whatever. They get, get some money, and that's it. Bro, I was just talking to somebody about this. That's just the beginning. Nobody never tell you that once you get the money, that open up a whole nother can of worms. Whole new set of problems. Surprise. See, people think that you start a trucking company, you're going to run. Like I said, you're going to grind year after year. When you finally do get that money and you finally do achieve the things that you want to achieve, it's going to be somebody there waiting to try to pull you back down or to try to take your spot or to try to get something that you got. And I'm just being honest, because I was just having this, and that's why I say a lot of my private conversations actually turn out to be really good, on my public streams. because I was just telling somebody this, and they was like, "Man, that's crazy that you saying that." But the struggle a lot of individuals are going through, you know, monetarily wise, that's just the beginning. Once you get to that, like I said, it's going to be a whole new set of problems and obstacles that you're gonna have to overcome. That's just the beginning. So, it's competitive out here. So you're not just gonna get to the money and it be peaceful. Something else that, you know, I'm gonna kind of talk about because I just want individuals to realize what they're facing, because it's rough just to get to that point where the business is making sense and so forth. You profiting, you able to save, you covering your costs, this, that, and the third. Then you're going to run into, like I said, different scenarios, something that I've dealt with, and I was kind of just speaking about this too, just recently. But it's I done kind of had issues with it, since I work a job. But an issue that I tend to run into, and you could kind of see it in some of my videos, it'll come up, and it's been with different individuals. I'll go into a place and I get a certain type of workload, and I was just saying, having this conversation, I really don't know how to, halfway do things. So, when I go out, I try to give my all, give 100%, do a great job. That's just me. And what I will tend to run into is, you go in, you complete the job, people will see what you could do. And once they kind of gauge what you can or can't do, then they'll load more and more onto you, to try to make you work harder and harder for the same amount of money. You see what I'm saying? So that's something that I've ran into, and not one or two, but multiple different situations where I go in, and prime example, like even with, the dedicated route that I'm running right now, which I'm gonna be bringing you guys some content on that like real soon, but I'm still working on this other little series I got going on. I got to get that out. But yeah, even with the new route, like I went in and I told you guys initially I was called for the route. I was asleep. Curry gave it to somebody else. The guy's truck broke down the first day. I contacted them and they had me run it the first day. And when I ran it the first day, I showed up within 30 minutes of talking to Curry. And I talked to the people, everything went smooth. I ran the freight. And pretty much from there, they requested that I be the actual individual that ran the route from there forward, as opposed to the guy whose truck broke down. Okay. And once again, I took a little vacation recently. And while I was off, let Curry know a week in advance that I was going to be gone a couple days. And pretty much they needed to cover me. Never really heard back from Curry. So just me being on top of things, a couple days before I left, I'm like, hey, do you have somebody to cover me? And for some reason, the number they were texting me from, I couldn't text back. But I had texted before and they responded. And I know that sounds crazy. They text me from a number, I texted back. They text me back in response to that text. But when I needed the time off, I texted the number and he told me, oh, well, you can't really text that phone. And he gave me another number. So long story short, they didn't really get the week advance notice that I was going to be gone for a couple of days. So they finally eventually found a guy. And this is like the third time this has happened. They found a guy to cover me. It was a Friday and a Monday that he was covering. Okay. So I'm I'm gone. But when I get back, I get the story. So Friday, the guy was supposed to be there at 8 a.m. They get a call. He gonna be a little late. It'll be about 9. And see, this is what a lot of individuals are doing. Prime example. So the company said, well, okay, at 9, they say they get a call that the guy's gonna show up at 11. So it went from 8 to 9 to 11. So they say the guy finally show up at 11 on Friday, and he had hiccups because he don't really know where to take stuff, and they got particular places you got to put the stuff at. He show up Friday, he run, whatever. Monday, he's supposed to show up again. This day, and the first day he didn't show up, he said his truck broke down. So he had to put it in the shop, get it out the shop. Somehow he was going to do all of that by 11 a.m. I don't know how that worked. But Monday, he said he got into a car accident. So he hit somebody in his truck. He told Curry, and the company that I'm running the dedicated route with, they telling me like, man, can you believe this? Like first thing they say when I show, they like, man, we glad you back. This is the first thing they say. I was off 2 days. They told me the 3 days that you was gone. I said, damn, it felt like an extra day. I promise you. This is what they tell me. They said the 3 days that you was gone, I was only gone 2 days. They said, yeah, he so whatever he hit, he said he hit something Monday morning. And he told Curry didn't even bother to tell the company. The company called him at 11, 12 p.m. midday. Hey, where the driver? Oh, your driver got in an accident. He not showing up this morning. So Monday, they didn't have a driver at all. So I show back up Tuesday, and they like, oh, man, you ain't gonna believe what happened. We so glad to see you. And I'm like, but so this is like 3 times straight in different scenarios that at one time with the tire company, I told y'all about that. The guy undercut me. I ran it for 800 to 880 for 4 days straight. And then he took it for 600. Monday, he went out with a load of tires, 95-degree weather, and his truck broke down. They had to send another truck. He's sitting out on the side of the road, 95 degrees, waiting for who knows how long for another 16-footer to come over and unload him because he wanted to take a load for $600. And that's what I say. With those tires, y'all saw that video. I think it's over 3,000 views at this point. It's done really well within the last couple weeks. That's strenuous work. Them tires, if you got any type of knee, back, shoulder problems, the tires are going to bring it out. So this is what I tell a lot of individuals when you quoting these different prices for freight. I was just talking about this. I don't quote off of the miles itself. I also factor in the weather, what I got to do physically. And this going to sound crazy, what could possibly happen. I was just telling somebody this. When you take a load, you have no idea what may happen. I've taken loads going 15, 20, 30 miles, get to a facility and be waiting 3 to 4 hours to drop. A short trip end up taking half of the day. You can't go back and tell the broker. Well, in some situations you can. And Curry is really good about that. If anything goes over the time, if it's any extra circumstances, I tell them at the end of the day, and they automatically add it. They have never questioned me on what was the reason why I wanted extra money for what. I tell them, hey, it went over an extra hour or it was some, and they usually just tack it on. So, I commend them on that. They really good about paying extra when needed. But a lot of these companies, you can't go back to them and renegotiate. TQL, all these different. No, what you take that load at is what you took it at. So you can't go back later on and tell them, hey, I need an extra, 150. They already cheap. They don't want to pay you to begin with. So for you to try to turn around and try to renegotiate because you didn't negotiate properly initially, that's what I'm saying. And I'm not getting up here just saying something. When I quote a price for a load, that factors in unforeseen circumstances that could take place that I haven't even encountered yet. So when I'm sitting here for an extra 2 hours because of an unplanned event, I'm already getting paid for it. I don't got to keep calling back arguing with the broker about, I need more. No, I charge you accordingly initially. I understand that different stuff take place and you taking loads for exactly at your cost per mile. You see what I'm saying? And then it turns around that you stuck somewhere for 4, 5, 6 hours. And now you upset. Another thing that's going on a lot. And why it's going on? I think it was happening with the dude, and I can't say for sure, but the individual that was supposed to be covering for me just recently. I think a lot of individuals take these loads for a certain number. They don't calculate nothing. They don't know what their cost is, and they start to run it mid-load, or when they go fill up and they put 250 in the tank, on a $350 load, and they like, well, damn, I just put 250 in the tank. I'm getting, 350, 360 for the whole load. Then they get pissed off and start making up accidents. Truck be fake breaking down. See, this a lot of these trucks ain't breaking down this much. These are the individuals that do not know their costs. See, they don't think cheap freight exists until they running it. They don't think cheap freight exists until it's on the back of their truck. Like I said, they stop the fuel up and they put that 250 in their tank and realize I'm a damn fool. No, my truck just broke down. Where the broker at? See, that's bad business. To see something else I say, once you take this freight for cheap, you should run it. That's why you shouldn't have took it in the first place. See what I'm saying? This is what you should have factored in when you threw that number out. But once you get that freight on the truck, you're going to make up a lie. You're going to get in a fake accident. You ain't no businessman at all. I don't respect that at all. And that's why I get upset. Because see, when I put the cheap freight on my truck, I got to run it the whole way and come back. Yeah, see, y'all want to bail out. Now, you don't want to feel stupid the whole way. Nah, you want to abort the mission midway and then, no, I ain't going to do it. No, you put it on there, you run it. That's business. Don't put that cheap freight on there in the first place. Then you won't have that problem. Factor in what could happen. I got a 4-hour trip. This could turn into 8. I'm charging accordingly. Yeah, I could charge $152 a mile because that's my cost, but I'm charging $250. And I might get out here and that $250 might not even be enough. I might have to keep this freight overnight. Stuff constantly comes up. Oh, you know what? They ain't even open. They ain't open. And you 400 miles away from where you picked the freight up at. You can't take it back. They ain't going to pay the cross docket. So what you about to do? You're going to keep that freight. Now look at how things change in a blink of an eye. that you never even factored in. So when I say I factor in unforeseen events, he crazy. He living in the past. It ain't like that no more. He tripping. He stuck in 2021. No, I don't have to, like I said, base my business off of what everybody else is doing, the current state of the economy, the Deregulation Act, and so forth. I don't have to. Actually, like I said, I refuse to. I will not. If I gotta do that, I quit. Legitimately, I quit. Before I gotta take a load on my truck that don't make no sense because of something that happened in 1980. I quit then. How about that? I sell this truck before I do that and go do something else. That's why I say, so I don't never gotta do nothing because of something that occurred. I understand it, but I don't implement that into how I run my business, and I refuse to. That's what I'm saying about that. And I stand on that 100%. It's not to disrespect anybody that came before me or, me being able to, take on this opportunity. No, it's not that. What I'm saying is I still refuse to factor that in. I'm not going to do it. I would legitimately quit first before I run my truck for less than what I feel is necessary cost-wise, and it's not my cost per mile. That to me definitely is cheap. And my cost per mile compared to a lot of people I know is low. Just to keep it real, I could run my whole business off $2,500 a month. No cap. My insurance $812 a month. $2,500, I run my whole business. My overhead not high. The point I'm making is I'm still not gonna run for lesser because of what my cost is. Like I say, at that point, you could just go work a job then. What's the difference? If you want to break even, you can make profit at a job. Why break even in a business? It's all profit at a gig. But you want to break even in a business with all this responsibility and all of these liabilities. You want to come out here and break even. Well, then I just think that individual can't be that intelligent, because before you do that, you just go work a job and it be all profit and you be home every night with your family and everything be good. Why would you run a business to run at or below your cost? And you not OTR and you not stuck in some area that you need. Why are you running for the minimal amount? I don't get it. So that's why I said, for me, my cost is not extremely high. I'm still not going to run for super cheap. People got higher cost than me running loads for cheaper than me. Keep doing that. Like I said, we're not competing for the same freight. I look at some loads and it's hard for me not to almost find them disrespectful. I'm just being 100% honest. When I look at a load board and I can't find a load over $350, $360 and nothing over $2.75 a mile, I don't even want to entertain them type of loads. So once I start looking, and that's what's on the load board right now, it's like Amazon especially, man, $350 is what it's like they don't want to give you nothing, but they be tripping. It was one time where they was just recently making a load super long, but they $800, $900, $1,000. I'll take that. I'd rather go drive way the hour and come back than this $300 shit they got up here now. That's why I say I would be running 4-5 nights a week if I could. Man, right now it's like 2-3 nights a week, because all I see is 350, 360, 270 a mile. And it's like, you know, what's this? And I'm not in a position now to where I could just see, because if you could sit out there all night, you playing a different game. You just got to watch that board, flick that board. But I have a dedicated route now. So I have to be somewhere by a certain time. So I can't just go out and venture out and be hanging out waiting for the most profitable load. That's why I say, if I have to get it out here now, I know how. But with this dedicated situation, I can't just be out there at 3, 4, 5 in the morning waiting on something to pop up, you know, and I got something dedicated that I need to be at 8. And that's why I'm saying 300-400 ain't gonna suffice, because if it ain't almost 6 or 7, 800, it no sense in me going all the way out there, running that load, half-ass, showing up late to my dedicated route, tired as shit. Why would I do that? I might well just stay at the crib and show up early and look good. Why I want to look bad for $350, $400 that Amazon gonna give me at night? And like I said, I show up sleepy. You know, oh man, you know, no. So it be days I be like, I'm not even going out for that amount of money, period. So that's the point I'm making with these lows. And if individuals think with all this AI through Amazon app that it ain't no algorithm and they don't see what type of loads that people are booking, AI is all through the app. So if you think this is all based off of consumer behavior, you tripping. You tripping. A lot of this got to do with the algorithm. It's also why DAT has what? A 30-day average. These things are not there for no reason. They watching what individuals are willing to run for. And this is how they put the lows out, because this stuff got to get moved by a certain time. So they not just putting lows out at a rate that they know gonna stay up there forever. No, they putting it at a rate that an uneducated carrier would be willing to take. Hey, we've been getting this off, you know, 3 times a week for 200. We used to put it out for 350, but somebody keep picking it up for 200. Why would we keep putting it out for 350 then? I put it out for 200 too. So I said this before, some of this, not all, some of this is based off of carrier behavior as well. Just like some of it's based off consumer behavior, some of it's based off the economy, but a lot of this is based off carrier behavior as well. If you think that none of this got nothing to do with what the carriers are booking, come on, like I said, don't go in there and get no load tonight then. And then in the morning, we'll see if what the carriers do affect the rates on that load board. I guarantee you, if half of the people that's going in there tonight don't show up in the morning, the rates go up. They had no choice. They had no choice. They got a 1-day commitment. Somebody gonna run it in 1 day, no matter what they gotta pay. It's just that they could catch somebody to run it for cheap, and they being more stubborn. And then with people with these low performance scores, they more willing to run this freight at a cheaper rate. You know, some people so thirsty. My homeboy was telling me that, man, I got a 98%, but he ain't ran a load with them in weeks, so he lost his score. He got a 98%, but it's saying he has no score. They letting him see like 1 or 2 loads a day. You see what I'm saying? They like, hey, we gonna come out at a certain time, and that's what it is, a certain time. We're gonna come out, we're gonna throw that food out there for you, for the people with the low score. We're gonna throw it out there. That's the only time we're gonna put something out there for you. Either take what you could get then, or you ain't gonna get nothing. That's how they rocking right now. So that's what a lot of people are up against when, you know, they coming in, and not so much am I hearing individuals trying to start. I think people know, you know, what's going on, because you don't see as many people. 3 months ago, people were still trying to start trucking companies in order to pretty much, you know, run Amazon. And now it's kind of a situation where You know, you don't hear that too much. Like you don't hear that too much. Let me look at these comments for a minute. But yeah, you don't hear that too much. Individuals trying to just get a truck to run it. First off, they got the 6-month rule. But even then, if you could get in 6 months, if you get in a truck now to come in and specifically run Amazon, I don't want to discourage nobody, but I wouldn't do that. I definitely will try to find some other means for freight in order to, run my trucking company. Don't come in just specifically focus on Amazon or you gonna run into issues. I promise you. And I just was saying this earlier in the stream. It's about half and half. So I know people are, set on coming in and, they want to try Amazon out. That's cool. But hire you some gig apps. Know you some brokers. Go pass out your business card at these different docks. Do some cold calling. Just have something else to back you up, so you're not 100% concerned. With getting on. You got people that'll wait 6 months with a truck and an authority just for Amazon, then come in and realize they not making the money they thought they was gonna make. So to avoid that, you definitely got to have some other resources for freight right now. Definitely 100%. He encourages people to bid lower than your competition, no matter what. I think that. Hold on, let me go back up because I'm missing something real quick. Hey, hey, Lou. Gray Polo said you was up there. You ain't know your cost per mile either. They are everyone that went on these podcasts struggling. I'm trying to tell y'all, man. It's no way you could be running profitable loads if you don't know your cost per mile. Mark the Mentor tells people, hold on. Mark the Mentor tells people to keep bringing the rates lower to squeeze out competition without realizing it hurts you too. I think a lot of individuals are not, this is the point I was making. I think a lot of individuals are not educated enough to squeeze out competition. That's the whole point that I've been trying to make. Until you take the time to calculate your costs and know what it takes for you to run your truck and your business, it's no way you could undercut, leverage yourself, because that's all it is. Stepping on somebody's neck. Yeah, it's just a slang term for leverage. Okay. So to leverage yourself against another carrier, you will have to know your costs. Anybody that tell you can leverage yourself against another owner operator without ever figuring out your costs, I mean, it's senseless. So that's the point I'm trying to make, that we've seen that nobody knows their costs. So they are them. All of the people that don't know their costs are the problem. They are who individuals are talking about, that are taking the cheap freight because they uneducated. They have no way to pick a profitable load because they don't know what's profitable or not. They have no idea they cost at all. So this is the point I'm making, and it's not here. They don't come on my show. They own his show. Nobody knows. I don't think he could tell you that one person has known their cost per mile. And these are the individuals that I believe he's telling to leverage their sales against other owner operators. You got to learn your costs first. He got to tell them to figure out their costs. See, they jumping ahead. That's the point I'm making. To tell a person to leverage themselves against another owner operator without knowing their costs is crazy. That's crazy. It actually is impossible. You can't leverage yourself against anybody in any form of business if you don't know your costs. If I'm lying, I'm flying. But I'm just telling you, it's no way you can have a candy store. You can't leverage yourself against another candy store if you don't know what you bring in on a daily basis. If you have no idea what your bottom line is day in and day out, how you gonna leverage yourself on a candy store up the street if they know they cost and you don't? It's not possible. It's not possible. So that's the point I'm making when I say they is them. It's 90%, 90+% of the population of people in the box truck community right now. They is them. We really could say 100% because nobody knew. So, I mean, I won already. They got to know they cost per mile before they could make any other moves. You cannot pass go till you learn your cost per mile. You can't. So it ain't no leveraging or putting your foot on nobody's neck till you educate yourself. So y'all, y'all buying into you. Look, like I said, use your common sense, man. It's not that hard. And that's the point I'm making. That's why I use the podcast as an example. It ain't even my podcast. I watch quietly, silently. I don't see them all, but I catch them. When I have time, I watch. Because I've been waiting for somebody to know they cost per mile. They don't. Not one person. Not one person. And y'all wonder why the man want to curse. Man, oh, man. Great Polo said, Mark doesn't make the rate. So how is he hurting people? I think kind of what's being said, and I touched on this, in the past. Uneducated individuals are going to take things like this out of context. So I think that's kind of what Dragonfly is getting at. That it's not that Mark, does not mean well. That's not what I'm saying. That's not what I believe. But for uneducated, giddy individual, that's right up their alley for you to tell them that there's no such thing as cheap freight. Like I said, because they want to be enabled. People don't want to educate themselves. So they'll use that as, you're right. They ain't calculated nothing, but they buying into this. It's no such thing as cheap freight. We got to probably put a disclaimer on that to say, if you know your costs. See, you got to put this in layman's terms. That's the problem. And I think that's what Dragonfly is saying, that for an uneducated individual, these type of statements and this type of verbiage can be taken out of context. You see what I'm saying? I said this too. A lot of individuals are not playing on the same mental plane. We think everybody is mentally in the same place. They not. It's like I said, you got all different type of creatures out here. Creatures. You see what I'm saying? So everybody not thinking the same. So you can't say, well, to a smart person that know they cost, if I say ain't no such thing as cheap freight, that's going to make them competitive. That's going to make them compete. That's going to make them, aggressive. I understand that. But to an individual that's not that smart, that make them dangerous. See, that make an uneducated individual dangerous in a bad way. So that's the point I'm making when I say you can't tell everybody it ain't no such thing as cheap freight. Like I say, we got to put a disclaimer on that. If you know your costs, then we cool. Because that's right up their alley. These delinquent individuals, that's right up their alley. They delinquent, bro. They never calculate nothing. You see what I'm saying? They don't count nothing. Buddy buying fuel. He don't know what he spent in fuel last week. That's 4 receipts, bro. You got fuel 4 times, bro. You won't even add 4 receipts, bro, and come up with one number and say, I paid $1,236.56 in fuel last week. He just getting the fuel, throwing the receipts up on the dash. They fade. By the time Buddy picked them receipts up again, ain't nothing even on them. It's just a white piece of paper. He don't know his costs. He had no idea where he spent a week in fuel. Not even an approximate estimate. He ain't got an approximate estimate on what he spent on fuel per week. He can't even say about $1,100. See, we can't do that with the cost per mile. You can't say about $1. But he can't even tell you about $1,100 in fuel per week. He don't even know that. But he out here trying to step on necks. He's trying to leverage himself against another business. That's absurd, bro. Ain't no way. It's not possible. It's not possible. He tells people to bid at a profit if it's lower than your CPM. Right. It's not up to a content creator to effectively run your truck. Like, this is what I'm saying about having to educate yourself. We are supposed to be supplemental to your business. You are like the main factor. Like, you executive, you making all of the decisions and you taking pointers from us. See, individuals letting content creators, and they've been doing this. Individuals letting content creators run their business. And it been going on. That's why so many people lost money, because they attempted to pay individuals to completely run their business, which once again is absurd. And when you try to pay somebody to completely run your business, they usually just gonna run off. Why? Because how somebody gonna run their business and run yours too? And 9 times out of 10, that individual probably struggling running their business. You see what I'm saying? And then you want to pay them $5,000 to run yours too. He wasn't going to do that. And he honestly probably should have told you that, I'm unable to, run your business. And that's what I'm saying. That's where the irresponsibility on the content creator side occurred, years ago. Because I think people kept taking people money, offering people resources that they knew they cannot provide. And then you charging people an arm and a leg, which just further exaggerates. It's like insult to injury. You charge them a whole bunch of money and then give them the minimum. But you have no business going to somebody and asking them to completely set your business up for you in the first place. Once again, this is an individual that's dodging doing the work.
That's why I don't blame the content creators when we go back and we talk about 2021 and 2022. I'm glad that I was around to experience that time frame. It was definitely a crazy time. I told this story before. Multiple days I woke up to cash apps. I did not know who sent them. People were sending cash apps before they even contacted the creators. This really was happening. I won't sit up here and make this up. Multiple days I wake up, it's an amount of money in my cash app, and now I'm trying to hunt down who done sent it. I don't want to be labeled a scammer. I don't even know who money this is. I don't even know what they paying me for. Like, what you want? You should contact me and make sure the services is available before you send a cash app. That's why I took my cash app down. Because I don't want people just sending me money and I don't know why or where it's coming from. And then you turn around in a week and start tripping because, oh, you ain't got my consultation, done quick enough. You never even, told me you wanted a consultation. You just sent money like I'm supposed. Man, I found out somebody sent me some money a year later. I'm not making this up. I got some money. I ain't know where it had came from. And it was there. And then later on down the line, I was talking to somebody and he like, yeah, I sent you some money. You ain't even know that was me. And then he told me the name. And I'm like, damn, he did send me some money before. This was what was going on 2-3 years ago. Once again, people not holding themselves accountable. If I just jump on Cash Out right now and just randomly send an individual some money, then if they run off with it, I really shouldn't be that mad then. I don't care if it is a content creator. How am I just going to randomly just send people money for no reason? You see what I'm saying? And not expect bad that's on you. And I mean, you feel how you want. You should not. And I know back then, once again, this ties back into the whole, PPP. It was an abundance of money back then. So that's why people wouldn't do that right now. Right now, people gonna contact you. Nobody sends me money without contacting me now. So that was kind of a sign of the times as well, because it was such an abundance of free money floating around. A lot of people legitimately, honestly just wanted to get rich. So what they did was trying to, money burn a hole through some people's pocket. So they were trying to, get the money into something that was going to make them more money. So if that was paying a content creator $5,000 in order to secure something that was in their mind going to get them rich, then that's what they were doing. So it wasn't, it wasn't smart, but I'm not calling them stupid. All I'm saying is people were desperately trying to find, information in order to get in. And like I said, just sending money around. And now today we hear so many situations of people who've, lost money to different content creators and so forth. I don't even get into all of that, but I'm telling you that I was around during that time and this was a lot of what was going on. So it was bad decision making going on back then as well. People not knowing what they were even going to get for their money. They just throwing it out there. So that's just a little look into the past and what was going on a year and a half, 2 years ago, especially. So if a broker says the low is taken, Mark would advise someone to bid 200 lower if you can afford to. It's a MS. It's a race to the bottom. Like I said, with me personally, man, I ain't pointing the finger at nobody. all I'm saying is you have to watch what you say. I think we all think that everybody up here is kind of we know they not because we seen the streams. I like the streams. I think that everybody would miss them if they went away. I'm just like, go subscribe to that man channel. The patience to sit there, and go through. I don't have that much patience. Like, I would just end the stream. I'm I'm hitting the button because people coming up here high. You ain't serious. People coming up here drunk. You see what I'm saying? And it's like, these are people that want to get in trucks and go OTR. Like, and that's what I'm saying. Look what we mentally dealing with here. And some of these people get into trucks. You see what I'm saying? Like, for every individual on these streams that didn't get into a truck, it's an individual that did with that same set of issues. Buddy in the back of the live stream, in the back room, he's smoking. When the man bring him up, he said, "What you say? That man joint didn't even exist." Am I lying? It didn't exist. He said it wasn't there. He didn't say that. The man clearly, when the man brought him on, he's smoking. The man said, "Hold on, let me put him." What you say? No, I ain't say that. These are the individuals. Like I said, the man, it's just like I say, we see who we dealing with. This is the individuals that you're telling no such thing as cheap freight. And we expect them to take this information in the way that we put it out there. And that's the point I'm making. Like, everybody not playing on the same mental field. And once we realize that, like I said, some of this stuff got to come with a disclaimer and tell people, if you don't calculate your cost per mile first, none of this applies to you. Point blank, period. We have to put that disclaimer in there. That way individuals don't, because like I say, this is right up their alley. They looking for somebody to enable them to say, they think you cool. I like him. He cool. He from the rat. You know what I'm saying? And boom, from there, you know what I'm saying? Anything you say is gold. You see what I'm saying? And then these individuals that aren't in their right frame of mind, like I said, you would think people don't idolize certain content creators. They do. You see what I'm saying? So you may be somebody's hero, a crazy dude hero. You might be some crazy dude hero. He ain't in his right frame of mind, but you the best thing in the world to him. And he out here in the truck. And like I said, to us, he dangerous because he idolized you, and it ain't no such thing as cheap freight. It don't exist. But he'll do anything. He'll run anything. I don't think that he meant, for him to go out just run. No, he wouldn't do that in his truck. He telling you to leverage yourself, but in an educated way. But if you're not educating yourself, there's no such thing as leverage. Leverage starts with education, understanding. You see what I'm saying? When you understand the business, and then you educate yourself and you know the numbers, then you can leverage and put your foot on people's neck. But if you uneducated, it's not possible. And I feel like I'm saying the same thing over and over, but I'm just trying to make this clear because I don't want the verbiage to change, the terminology. I told you they was trying to trick us, because now I'm like, yeah, but that's the point I'm making. I don't want to be sitting up here saying the same thing over and over. But the point I'm making is without education, it is no leverage. Nobody, 9 out of 10 owner operators are not educated. So who's leveraging themselves against who? A bunch of people leveraging themselves against a bunch of uneducated other people? Is that what's going on? Like, who's leveraging themselves against who? It's not possible. That's why I said, to me, it ain't no debate. Nobody know they cost per mile. Nobody's educated. So who's running at a profitable, rate and, running business? They not. They not. And the evidence, you can't remove it. It's there. All the live streams are there. Go back and watch. Not only do they not know they cost per mile, they don't know none of their numbers. Period. Everything is approximate. And the number one thing, and I'm gonna keep watching going forward, I don't know. If it was a number one phrase on those shows, it's I don't know. I bet money on it. A business owner supposed to know. Like, I'm gonna tell you the truth. I'd be ashamed to get up and tell people I don't know what I spent in fuel last week. I'm just driving the truck, pumping the gas. Throw the receipt on the dashboard, keep going. Run another cheap load. They not ashamed, bro. And that's why I said they don't want to know. Because after you go up here and you embarrass yourself in front of the whole box truck community, you go home or you go to bed, you have a snack, you don't educate yourself, and you get up tomorrow and do the same thing. That's what I'm saying. After you embarrass yourself in front of the whole box truck community, I would think you would then go learn or figure out what your cost per mile is. Like, it's not clicking. So that's the point I'm making. Somebody got to know they cost. Like I said, find me one person that knew they cost per mile, and we could talk. It's not even nobody know nothing. Not no cost per mile, not what they spend in fuel, nothing, nothing. Profit margin, no. What the hell, what no profit margin is? They have no idea. So these is people that's running around talking, I'm putting my foot on his neck. No, you not. You ain't stepping on shit. Excuse my French. You not stepping on shit. You confused about everything. Till you go educate yourself, you're going to keep repeating the same process over and over and over again. Like I said, all of the information is right on the internet. If people want to educate themselves on arithmetic, anything you want to learn is right here on YouTube. People don't want to know. That's why you preaching to the choir. People know what they're doing wrong, and they choose to keep doing it. Ain't no way you can stop. You can't whoop them. They not children. Was you gonna spank them? You keep doing the same thing over, I'm gonna whoop you. You can't whoop no grown man because he don't want to run his business right, because he won't take the time to calculate his cost per mile. He don't know none of his numbers. He can't tell you what he spent in fuel, maintenance, or none of that. He just swipe the card and take the receipt. He don't keep no calculations or no record of nothing. No daily journal, no nothing. The business is damn near on autopilot. What you gonna do? How you gonna make him? You could like him as much as you want. You could want him to succeed. But the point I'm making is you can't make a grown man do nothing they don't want to do. And see, a lot of us, we realized this a long time ago. That's why really, honestly, when they say, being concerned with other individuals, like I said, my cost is low. I feel like things are kind of finally falling into, somewhat place. Like, I'm not concerned with other people, but like I said, people dig themselves into these deep, deep holes, and they think they could pay $100 to get out of them. No, you can't. Y'all just keep telling y'all story. Like I said, that's the best case scenario, because people are not going to be able to, at this point, especially with the way the economy is, and just everything right now is way more expensive. It's no denying that whatsoever. So at the end of the day, it's like, you could do whatever you choose to, but it's only gonna get worse. And like I said, a year ago, I've been working on moving my business, away from Amazon. People were saying, well, how the hell you doing that? All you do is run Amazon and gig apps. You can create connections, through anything. It's just all in how you present yourself and, how you show up. And that's something I want to say too, pertaining to leverage or putting your foot on another owner operator neck, however you want to call it. In my opinion, the way you leverage yourself against other owner operators is by providing a service that 90% of these individuals are unable to match. When it comes to equipment, the type of equipment that you show up with, the way you communicate and talk to people when you in these different facilities, the way you dress. People don't put a lot of, interest into that. What's on your clothing, your pants hanging off your ass. You bent over to pick some up, somebody see your whole ass crack. This is how you leverage yourself. I got a belt on, my pants pulled up, ain't nothing on my shirt. I smell like I'm clean. I look like I'm here. I ain't drunk. I ain't blowed. You see what I'm saying? Like, this is how you leverage yourself, by providing a service that 90% of these individuals, they can't match no way. He might got a new truck, but he talked to these people crazy. He don't know how to communicate. He got a truck, he know how to communicate, but he don't understand that he supposed to pull his pants up, and they don't want to, see the shape of his bottom. You see, that's offensive to some people. You see what I'm saying? He don't know he ain't supposed to show up in a shiesty smoking a square. That made people get scared. You see what I'm saying? They not even wearing them no more. He's still showing up in shiesties. You see what I'm saying? This is what I'm saying about leveraging yourself, because they see different owner operators every day. Every time Dick and Harry in a box truck now, they showing up trying to run some freight. So when you show up different, people notice. You might think people don't notice the small details about the way you show up, but they do. They looking at your truck, the way you talk, communicate. If you even that, the truck is supposed to be dirty, not to that extent. You see what I'm saying? Like, they're looking at all of that, and that'll be the difference in you running for somebody for a few days or you showing up long term. When a customer loading your truck and they looking at you, you know they looking at what every customer that you drop off at is gonna see. That's why they looking you up and they listening, because they like, man, oh man, we sending this guy in this particular. We know how Mary is, she she touchy, and he go up in there, pants hanging off. He talking crazy, he all loud, all of that. We gonna just use him for the day and tomorrow. We gonna try to get somebody else, that more fit the bill. We'll use him today. The same thing with these old trucks. They'll use you today, replace you tomorrow. So this is what you need to understand on how to leverage yourself, in my opinion, against other owner operators. Pay attention to the way you're showing up. Maintenance your equipment. Be clean, presentable, and talk to these people like you got common sense. Be on time. Oh man. Be on time. That's another thing that's going to set you apart. People think showing up 10, 15, 20 minutes late every day is okay because you are owner operator. You don't never got to be on time. This how you leverage yourself. He show up 10 minutes early every day. Faithfully. Ready to go. He don't get out the truck to 8, but he be at 7:50. You see what I'm saying? Meanwhile, this guy said he was going to be here at 9. He didn't get here till 11. And he dropped all the shit off at the wrong locations. This went there, that went here. Not only did he show up late, but now we got to clean all this shit up behind him. He might well just stayed at home. This how you leverage yourself. Like I said, by providing a service that 90% of these jokers can't match. You're not going to show up like me. You ain't going to grind like me. You don't unload. I was telling, because it was a discrepancy on, I had to charge on my dedicated route. I charged them some extra money because I went over my time, And so it was a little discrepancy over, me charging them that, or telling Curry that I was charging them the extra money. And I told him, I was like, hey, I know. And this is what I told the guys that I work for. They load my truck every day. I know that I'm faster than most. I ain't say 90%, but I know that I'm faster than most other owner operators. So if I come in here and tell you that it took me an extra hour to complete the freight that you gave me, it took an extra hour. Because I'm going to finish before you want me to. Because that's how I move. So I ain't going to feed you no BS. And this is exactly what I told him. And tell you it took me to 2 p.m. if it only took to 1. Because I'm getting quick. I'm getting done as quick as possible. I don't come out here to play around. So if I could finish in 4 hours, it's going to get done in 4 hours. I ain't going to take 6. I don't hang out at the gas station. And so I told them, and they was like, okay. But I'm just letting them know. So if I say that what you gave me took longer than the time that was allotted and what you paid me for, then respect that. Because I move quicker than these other people. You see what I'm saying? So I'm letting them know. I know my worth. And this is what I'm saying about them trying to push you beyond your limits. They know I'm supposed to be done by a certain time frame. And what they will do is like, damn, and this kind of what I was getting to, and I want to touch on it too. And this is why I feel like, because I was saying this about when you do start making the money, it's going to be other obstacles. And what I encounter with a lot of the customers, the brokers, and so forth, is that I go out, like I said, they'll give me an amount of work. They expect it to take 6 hours. I do it in 4. Get done, go home. Everybody happy. Y'all made y'all money. And y'all made probably 5,000-6,000 on me today. What you pay me? What? 600-700? Okay. But they be worried about how much work you got to do to make that little money. They don't want you finishing a 6-hour job in 4 hours. See, then they start piling extra shit on. And see, that's when I start having a problem. So see, now you trying to work me harder than the guy that show up at 11. You see, I show up on time, present myself the right way, respectful, ran the frame month straight, no issues. So now y'all want to start trying to pile it on slowly but surely. I showed up here, y'all was giving me 6 stops a day. Why I'm getting 9? Why y'all giving me 9 stops now? And then when the time go over, you want to argue? No. You know you normally give me 6 stops and you giving me 9. That's why you paying accordingly. You got to speak up for yourself. And that's why I say you got to charge these people accordingly as well. You don't just run this freight and don't say nothing. No. That's why out the gate, I'm charging you on the higher end. And then when stuff come up, I'm asking for more. That's how it works. But I'm not going to, keep running for the same amount day in and day out. No, it don't work like that. And you steadily increasing the workload. And I went through that. You saw that in the tire video. One day I show up, it's like 60 to 70 tires. Next day, 150. They trying to send y'all worried about how long it take me to finish the work you giving me. Won't you just worry about how much you making off the stuff that I'm dropping off for you? And this is what I'm telling individuals. Once you show up on time and present yourself the right way and show them you know how to handle yourself out here, they're gonna pile more work on you. And like I said, you're never gonna just get to the money and that be it. It's always gonna be something that comes up. So this is just kind of what I want to put out there. And I was just having this conversation. But yeah, I feel like, they try to work me as, they'll worry about how long it take me to finish. Yeah, he finishing too quick. Why you care though? Like, why you care? Look, nothing's in the wrong spot. Everybody got their freight. You got all the signatures. I took all the pictures. Why do it matter if I did it in 4 hours and I get paid for 6? Why you trying to give me busy work? That's what I call it, busy work. Now you spreading out the stops. It's 50 minutes between each stop. Why are we doing this? So that's what I'm saying out here. A lot of times, one hand don't wash the other. See, they thinking about self. And that's why I tell people, know your worth. Once you take these loads, and that's happening a lot, people aborting these loads, before they finish them. And they having fake breakdowns, accidents, sicknesses, deaths in the family. They coming up with all type of reasons to say, low key, I just didn't negotiate this load right. That's what happened. I did not negotiate the load correctly. And in the middle of it, I start to feel stupid. I'm getting upset. I'm out of character. So in an unbusiness-like fashion, I'm going to abort the load, mid-run. And like I said, to me, that's not cool. If I put it on my truck, I'm going to run it. So negotiate properly. That'll solve all of this. Negotiate properly. And then you won't run into issues to where, you having to, jump out. And it's happening more often than not. People just get upset in the middle of a load and abort it. They done. And that's that. Yeah, I'm just looking at some of the. I'm trying to play catch up right now, but yeah, I'm seeing Dragonfly kind of having a debate and just saying that kind of people don't have standards and okay, SD Wall Dragonfly does standard not equate to knowing your cost per mile. I don't know what. Yeah, Mark, let's have the conversation. I'm willing to have it. Hey, Mark, I don't even think I got the software over here to drop the link, bro. I definitely would, but we could do it on your show. I don't have no problem with that. But I don't know if I ain't never dropped the link, folks. So I'm just being honest with you. I ain't even that's sad. I don't know if I need a particular software or what, but we could definitely debate it out. I don't have a problem with that at all. So I mean, it is what it is. I ain't avoiding it at all. But yeah, we'll definitely probably have to do it another night. But I'm with it. I mean, it ain't a problem. Like I said, it seemed like it's of interest in the space, and I keep hearing it being talked about. So, whatever's clever. But I feel like that with individuals not being educated, it's no way that they could leverage themselves. It's not possible. So that's just my theory on the whole topic. It's a race to the bottom no matter how you flip it. Happens in a lot of industries with an abundance of suckers. Great Polo said debate time at Dragonfly. What's your cost per mile? I'm trying to catch up. Man. I done kind of lost my space. Y'all bear with me for a second. I'm trying to touch on some of these. Yeah, I done lost my spot. But yeah, I'm gonna catch up on some. I don't want to avoid these because I see y'all. So yeah, Great Polo said debate time. Dragonfly, what's your cost per mile? St. Louis 314 said, Mark said drop the link. Drop the link, dog. Y'all want me to drop the link? Man, we could have a debate. Like I said, I ain't ducking no smoke. I thought I had won the debate already. I thought I won. And then people told me that it was still alive and well. So I'm willing to have it. But I thought I won the debate and I put this to rest 2 weeks ago. But apparently it's still going on. So we can have a debate. Like I said, I ain't ducking the debate at all. And I don't be wanting to be up this situation. I understand why they want me to drop the link. I kind of try to go through these, and that's why I've never done it before, because I kind of try to go through these, and they be long enough. Look, we already at 2 hours and like 40 minutes. So that's why I normally don't do it, because I just don't want these to go on way too long. But I'm gonna figure that out just for y'all. So next time this come up, y'all don't think I'm ducking the smoke, and I don't want to drop the link. But like I said, I don't want to get the fiddling around up here, messing with stuff and, mess something up. So we could do it. If he want to do it on his stream, we could do it on his stream. And I'm gonna look into all of that because I don't know. I have to look into how to do that properly without throwing nothing off. That's all that is. Doesn't matter. Every trucker in spot market should agree no lows lower than $2 a mile really should be standard. I'm just being 100% honest with you. Like $2 a mile to me should be standard. And that's the point I was making when I got to touching on like the trucks and so forth. If you got an older truck, you probably running local. So a lot of this don't even pertain to you. You see what I'm saying? But for the individuals that are able to actually run these trucks, it's only so low that you're able to get your costs in a truck that's of, a 2014 or better. How much are you going to be able to lower your costs? I know some individuals that's coming up on paying off their trucks because they had like a 3-4 year financing deal, and now they coming up on their 3 years. But it's only so much that you can lower costs: insurance, maintenance, fuel, supplies, food. For those of you with drivers, payroll. Like, these are expenses that have to be accounted for. So when you look at all of this, like, how much can you actually lower costs by to where you could run for $1 per mile? Like, it's almost impossible to lower your cost that much unless you got an old paid off truck, which then you would be running local or regional, and you wouldn't be running it long distances. So you're not going to even be eligible to make the type of money that individuals in newer trucks are making. That's the whole point I've been trying to push. You get an older truck, you plan in a different lane. That puts you local, regional. It may be a scarce few individuals that's running OTR, but I don't see no internationals, them old 99, that popular international, the DT 466 that a lot of people got up in the Chicagoland area. They run them local and regional. I never seen none of them in Tennessee or out in them areas. I don't never see none of them running long distances. So that's kind of the point I'm making. With an older truck, you're going to be severely limited on what you can or cannot run. So to me, the older trucks don't even count. You got to get a newer truck to really be playing for real, and able to actually leverage yourself in today's time. Older trucks, they kind of playing on their own little level. And I mean, that's cool. But like I said, it's a difference. Man, I got 50 drop the links. Look, Great Polo paid me $2 to drop the link. Stack Loke say definitely big facts. Man, I just try to keep it straight with y'all, man. And, tell you my point of view from my experiences. That's all I could give y'all. Like I said, I ain't perfect. I'm not the smartest man in the world. I educate myself on a daily, but I don't claim to be the smartest man. And I'm a work in progress. But if I tell you something up here, it's from my experiences, and I'm not telling you nothing for my own personal benefit. It's no gain for me to come up here and a lie to you guys. And when I hear certain narratives, it makes me kind of want to touch on it and say, hey, yeah, you could get an older truck, but how far you gonna run that thing? Some things that certain individuals are not thinking about, and then they buy into a narrative, and then they just jump out there and do it. And then be like, man, this was a bad decision because now I'm getting passed up on contracts that, I'm unable to run because of my equipment. So I'm just bringing a viewpoint that you could look at and say, hey, maybe I might want to think twice about going out and getting an older truck, which to the naked eye might look like a good move until you really think into it. So that's all, I try to put out here is just to get individuals to see that it's different viewpoints to everything. And it's really no right or wrong way. You gotta, modify how you come in pertaining to how you want to run. Some people don't want to go far. So the old trucks work for them. I know individuals that don't like to go outside of like 100, 150 miles. All they do is short trips. So in that case, I understand why an individual would get an older truck. He ain't going far. But if you plan to go OTR, I'm not going to tell you to go get a 99. I ain't going to tell you to do that because it don't make a whole lot of sense. Just being 100% honest. You willing to debate? Yes, I'm willing to debate. I mean, that's what we up here for. Is to have debates, and open up different ideas and viewpoints in order to educate individuals in the space. One person can't do it by themselves. You need different viewpoints in order for people to come to a general consensus and say, this is what I want to do. Because, like I said, we shouldn't be making the executive decisions for your business. We should be supplementing, and then you, in the end, saying, hey, this the best decision for me pertaining to my situation, my area, my equipment, my funds, and so forth. It ain't a one size fits all. And that's kind of just what I'm, trying to put out there. Everybody may have a different avenue that they need to take in order to be successful, in this trucking business. Because it ain't just everybody in box trucks. I have individuals that I talk to in cargo vans. I know people in semis. So, like I said, at the end of the day, it just kind of is what it is, and to each his own. But without somebody opening up these different narratives and viewpoints, then how would anybody ever know? People just gonna run around and say, well, hey, this is what it is, and that may not work for them. So that's just the case. That Mark, I told y'all, yeah, we gonna make that happen. I'll get with him. We'll wrap some up and we'll make it happen. I got so many drop the links. Look, y'all ready to turn up, ain't y'all? We could do the debate though. That's not a problem whatsoever. Exactly. And that's kind of the point that I'm making. Like, you know, everything cost wise is going up. That's what Dragonfly was saying, maintenance and fuel, it's not getting cheaper. You see what I'm saying? And that's 100% true. These costs are not getting cheaper as we go. They're only getting more expensive. And like I said, it's probably going to get worse before it gets better. So, like I said, I just can't adhere to certain narratives. I have to run based off what I see fit pertaining to, like I said, my situation. And everybody got to do what's best for them at the end of the day. And if you educate yourself, then, like I say, that's when leverage comes into play. Until then, it's no such thing as leverage, period. Reducing costs allows for you to be more competitive. That's true. Reducing costs does allow for you to be more competitive. But see, the issue is, how much can you actually reduce costs? Maintenance is maintenance. Their cost is their cost. Insurance is insurance. Fuel is fuel. It's constantly on the rise. Supplies, food, things that you need on the road, all of that's going up. So that's the point I'm making. Everything's going up. You cannot dodge those costs. So I don't see individuals being able to lower their cost to $1 per mile with a truck that they actually can operate longer distances. I don't see that. If you have a paid off truck that you run a local, cool. But I don't see that in a newer truck. You just can't manage a business, reduce your costs, stop thinking you're going to see pandemic numbers. like I said, I mean, it's to each his own. But I would like to see somebody, because I've done it. I've actually reduced my costs. Everybody saw me come from a rental truck into my own truck. You know, I went from Progressive over 2,000 a month to under 1,000. So I've greatly reduced my costs. Once again, my cost still not $1 per mile or $1.20. So that's the point I'm making. Most individuals' cost is well above $2 or well above $1.50 per mile. Some individuals are in upwards of $2. It's still some rental trucks out here. I'm noticing that. I'm still seeing rental trucks here and there. So those individuals might be approaching close to $2. I don't even know how, they're surviving at this point. But this is the point, that I'm making. I don't see a lot of people with a cost per mile of $1. So, I mean, how do you do that? Somebody explain that to me, because I want to do it. I want my cost per mile to be $1. So if somebody know how to lower your cost that low, I understand if your cost is $2 and you're trying to get it down to $1.60, $1.70, that's feasible. But lowering your cost to $1 so you can run at the cheapest rate possible, like how? Somebody explain to me what you gonna make the insurance company give you a certain rate, what you gonna determine the price for fuel. You gonna tell the maintenance shop what you gonna pay them. How do you lower costs without just getting a truck that's paid off and old? Like, how do you lower costs that much? That's my question. How? You could easily say lower costs, but how? How do you do that? So that's what I would like to know. Grace Logistics say nice content for the space. I've taken freight at or slightly below my cost to get out. Right. And you tend to run OTR or regional. So in order for you to get back from the nap or wherever you gonna take something that makes sense so you get something to come back. You ain't really running Amazon like that. You see what I'm saying? So that makes sense. I said this multiple times. If you OTR, you got to do what you got to do. That don't apply to these regional and local. They do what you want. You do whatever you want. But I'm saying it's no real reason why you need to be running at $1.70 one way for Amazon or locally. That don't make no sense. And I'm like, if that's all you want and that's all your time worth, cool. But I don't see it. Like I said, OTR, even further out regional, do what you got to do. It's understandable. I do the same thing, but we talk about it's mainly local people. That's the problem. You see what I'm saying? And what they do affects, like I said, the algorithm on these load boards. That ties into it. Nobody gonna tell me the carriers and the loads they book have nothing to do with what the rates are on the board. That's a bold-faced lie. You cannot tell me that what the carriers, AI is all through the app. None of us are smarter than AI. So you don't think AI keeping a record of what carriers are booking on a daily basis? You believe this? You that ignorant to where you don't think that what the carriers do affect how they put loads out in the upcoming days, weeks, and months? You really believe that? What the carrier have nothing ain't that's so the DAT load board, the 30-day average is there for nothing. They made that up. The 30-day average for a lane, that's made up. It's there for no reason. It's a reason why they got a 30-day average. That's based off what the carriers book for particular loads on average for the last 30 days. It's there for a reason. So you can't tell me that these load boards are not tracking the types of loads that carriers are booking and willing to run for. You can't tell me that. I refuse to believe it. The market isn't concerned with businesses or business owners' company expenses, nor are they concerned with the cost of gasoline or labor prices from mechanic shop. Exactly. And that's why I'm not concerned with the Deregulation Act and so forth. Just what you said. They are not concerned with what we got to do to get by on a day-to-day basis. Why would I be concerned with something that's created to pit me against my fellow carrier? And I'm not saying it's a whole bunch of togetherness or anything of that nature, but what I'm saying is, at the end of the day, this all was created to put us against each other. Why would I buy into that? And just like Rich, I think that's Rich Jew that said that they don't care about our expenses or what we have to do or the stresses that we face to run this freight on a day-to-day basis. They could care less. So the point I'm making is, why should I factor in something that happened and let that be the determining factor on what rate I choose to drive for? Because this is how it's supposed to be. Like, how does that work? That's why I said I refuse to factor that in. The same way they refuse to factor in that fuel is increasing, maintenance is increasing, insurance is increasing. Like I said, supplies, all of that's increasing. Rich Jew just said it. The brokers don't care. They not your friend. They not going to give you a loan when you're going out of business. They not going to do that. So to me, like I said, it's a situation of to each his own. You do what's best for you. But it's here right in the fine print that I agree with the man. Nobody cares about the cost that we incur, to run these businesses. And that's why you got to know your worth and run for a profitable rate. Like, I mean, it's all on you. Do what you want. But like I said, in the end, a lot of individuals end up being these sad stories that we hear. And some of them, they sad stories, and it could happen to anybody that does not take the time to educate themselves. Point I'm making, that it could be anybody that does not want to do the work. That's what's gonna happen. Great Polo said, Dragonfly, do you know anything about deregulation? Dragonfly owner operator running spot market should set a regulation of 2 miles per hour. They need the spot market just like the truckers need maintenance. Let's see. Distribution centers only want their freight picked up off the docks and delivered. They adjust what they're willing to pay to appease every individual driver. They will be giving away their goods. I mean, like I said, I get it cost wise, but you got to look out for you, man. Like I said, I cannot, the same way they don't factor in, they don't care what I have to pay. That's the same way. Hey, I mean, you gotta pay me what I require to run, or get somebody else to do it. It ain't hard. It's a lot of other people willing to do it. So, I mean, get them to do it. And I'm willing. And that's another thing, when, you stand on your price, you got to be willing to walk. That's the next part. You can't stand on your price, then renege. Oh no, I was just playing. If you say you want 800 and they only gonna give you 7, then that's a load you're gonna lose. You're not gonna get nothing. That's the consequences of standing on your price. But at the same time, like I said, at the end of the day, it's to each his own, because people getting in the middle of these loads and abandon them. They making up issues and different things that's done happen that ain't even true. And it's all going back to negotiating, and they don't want to run the load because at some point they came to their senses. So that's just the point that I'm making. Get in the middle of these loads and figure out they not profitable. That's going to be on you. That's still not considered cheap freight. Goat Logistics, what's not considered cheap freight? What's cheap freight? Like I said, any freight that you running on a regular basis that's at or below your cost per mile, in my opinion, is cheap freight. Unless you OTR and you using these to get you out of peculiar situations, I understand that. But if you local or regional and you regularly, not, hey, this situation, this got to happen. You doing what's best for you. But no, you regularly go out and run for either at or below your cost per mile. And we already did determine, like we just talked about, that most individuals don't even know they cost per mile. So, like I said, we jumping ahead in the conversation. We got to get people to know their numbers before we go to talking about, all of the other stuff. People have to know their numbers first. So it just is what it is. You're right. I took a load today, 17 loaded miles, ended up taking 5 hours. Thank you. Happen to me all the time. That's what I'm saying. Like, you get in these situations, you take these loads, it seems profitable on paper. And then you get out here and it's times I've been on loads I wish I didn't take at all. Period. It happens every day to different individuals. Anybody that's out here on a regular basis, they know that. So that's why you quote them the right price from the jump. And then whatever happens after, you deal with, because you charge them the right way from the beginning. So I ain't got to go back trying to charge you a whole bunch more, because I charge you for what could happen when I gave you my price. That's why I wanted 8 and cut instead of 7, because I understood that you telling me this is going to be an 8-hour day, but it might be 10 or 12. So I'm going to charge you like it's a 10-hour day. And then if it go 8, then I win. But if it go 10, then I was thinking ahead. So that's kind of how I base my prices, and people will say, "Are you crazy?" or this. No, I'm not. It's just like my truck will sit before I just jump out there for a load, that don't make no sense whatsoever. I mean, that's just how I feel about it. I would rather the truck to sit and we come back out and we shoot again tomorrow, as opposed to running at a loss today, which I have little scenarios where I can make up runs that I run for less than, but that's not my strategy. I'm trying to be up when I quote the price. That way I'm already winning. I'm not trying to go back and say, hey, I need this extra put on, or no, that's too much. And then it create, bad energy between you and the broker, because after the fact, when you go to asking them for money, in the end, half of the time they don't even want to give it to you, and then they won't even rebook you on another load sometimes due to that. So I'm quoting correctly from the jump. Jonathan Cole say charge that 250. I'll cut that and have you sit. Hey, more power to you. Go ahead and run that. Go ahead and run that. If the driver didn't negotiate what works for him, that falls on the driver. Exactly. That's why I said you do it from the jump. You negotiate correctly from the jump. You know your costs from the jump. You charge more than your costs from the jump. You're going to be all right. But if you go with that running at your cost per mile, why would you want to run for less than your cost per mile? Like, why is that even an argument? That's what I'm really not getting right now. Why is that even a debate? Why are we debating whether you should run for less than your cost per mile or not? Like, I don't get it. Like, y'all losing me with this one. Let's see where we at. Truckers should put bumper stickers on their trucks with the slogan, "It's a race to..." Rates will drop further once more electric vehicles come online. Bro, you smoking, someone's going to grab that. Your cost being high isn't my problem. I told y'all, man, I'm not upset. More power to you. Run that. I done been beat out for those on a plenty day. Like, I mean, that shouldn't be making or breaking you one way or the other. So, yeah, for me personally, like I said, if you want to undercut me, I just told 3 stories where people undercut me, and every time they either get in an accident or they truck break down. So there's people with piss poor equipment that's undercutting me, and they can't complete the load. So keep doing it. Keep doing it, and keep not maintaining your equipment, and keep looking bad to the carrier. That's what's happening. I told you 3 different instances now where people tried to undercut me and it turned out bad. Like, how many times I got to keep giving you examples to show you that it's not beneficial for you to book loads for less than what it's worth to run them, and then abort them in the middle and say you got an accident or your truck breaking down. Your truck went in the shop and came out the shop in the same day in 3 hours. Like, it's obvious that people are making up reasons to abort these loads or having to show up for these runs that initially they believe are profitable. So the proof in the pudding. I done gave you 3 instances within the last 3 months this occurred. Not even 3 months, that people tried to undercut me and they truck broke down. So go ahead. How do you feel? Drop the link. Stop. Come on, man. Y'all cut it out. Y'all know I ain't 2-stepping nothing. Not dropping the link, man. Y'all, it's the same people saying the same thing, man. I'm not even finna keep that 2-step. Dragonfly not making no sense. Can I run without a DOT medical card in a Sprinter? Not in a box truck. You talking about Mark? Just let him hop on there with you, man. Why you looking? A conversation. I just told y'all I have never dropped the link. I'm not about to during the stream try to figure out how to drop the link just for the sake of bringing somebody up. So once I educate myself on, how to drop and what program I need, if I necessarily need a program, then I do it. But I'm not going to stop my stream abruptly to bring somebody up and I don't definitely know how to do it. You see what I'm saying? I'm not going to do that. If that was part of the plan, then I would have did it. And like I said, I will go and educate myself on, if I need other programs. I'm sure it's pretty simple, but like I said, I have not done it. So I'm not gonna stop my stream to drop a link. Just tuned in, gonna watch the key recap. Appreciate that. Also, it's 31 people in here. I think it was like 41 at some point. If you here and you ain't hit the like button, please do so for me at this point. Hit the like button for me one time. That way y'all can push the stream out to other individuals that's interested. I'm sure a lot of people would be interested in this topic. You know, like I said, I got requests for me to do this beforehand, you know, as opposed to my other stream. So I mean, so why I'm not gonna keep having the same conversation. That's not up for bro to decipher, not even up for you to either. You guys just yeah, and I agree. You know, it's not up for a lot of stuff. You know, people come to content creators for, like I said this earlier, for services that they, in my opinion, really should not be asking for. You know, but like I said, it just comes down to, you know, you mentally telling yourself, I cannot do it. I cannot figure it out. So I would rather, you know, try to take a easier route, which I understand, but I don't, if you kind of get my drift. So that's just the point that I'm making. It's a lot of things that's put off on content creators, but I'm just saying that once again, certain narratives are right up certain individuals' alley to assist them in their delinquency. You know, individuals never took the time to figure out certain things. And then when they hear from somebody that they admire, you know, some content creator, maybe not, but some people are some people's hero. You see what I'm saying? When your hero say something, you know, you're just like, oh man, yeah. So that's the point I'm making. Like, you never know how much influence you have over particular people. And like I said, what mental plane they are moving on. And people could take stuff out of context. I've said that, you know, multiple times. That's the whole point I'm making. So when somebody here, it ain't no such, like I said, it's right up their alley. And then somebody said, man, he not, man, like I said, it this to me, and I'm not being funny, you know, different people have different viewpoints on this. So, and like I said, I'm not being funny. It is debatable. Everybody don't agree that cheap freight don't exist. Everybody don't agree that it do. And you see the reaction that the streams get. So that's the point that I'm making. Apparently, it's still up for a debate. I'm not crazy. You know, it's other individuals that agree with me, and then it's some that don't. But the point I'm making, like, acting as if the conversation don't need to be had, or that somebody dissing because they don't agree, man, that's crazy. Like, that's part of the problem in the space right now. We need more individuals that are able to open up discussions and have these conversations without it being a diss or, you know, something personal. None of this stuff is personal to me at all. So, like I said, as far as whatever, you know, you making it about no, it's about the narrative and what individuals believe and how individuals are running their business. It had nothing to do with a content creator or a subscriber or any of that. That's not the issue here at all. And that's what it seems. It seems like people are trying to defend like, yeah, once again, y'all taking this stuff out of context. Y'all gotta kind of see where I'm coming from and understand, why I'm saying what I'm saying. Because yeah, you taking it as, it's not, you don't need to defend anybody. Like, defend the people that's running the loads. That's who need yeah, I don't get it. Now, is that asthma rolling? That's one of the I appreciate that comment. He damn near nailed it on the head, you know. And that's what I'm saying, he basically said Mark doing good deeds, but the people he deal with on the call in and all that don't even take it serious. And for him, he don't have the patience. Thank you. Appreciate that. Not up to him to force people to get it. He is just providing. Right. And I mean that's what I believe everybody here is doing. They just providing the information and you know trying to be of some assistance. Yeah, you can't. People gonna take whatever they want to take. We already talked about that. He said if I come to the same spot, I mean, I don't feel like, like I said, I don't worry about competition, honestly. For me, it's the educational aspect of it that, I'm talking about. And that's even with the being concerned with other people. Like, I'm not worried about other owner operators. You know, like I said, if you booking certain type of loads, I'm not even competing for those. So have at it. But the point I'm making is the situations that they end up in the end. And like I said, getting up here and the stories they tell and all play the victim. And like I said, it's not many people that'll tell you, man, I've been running in the red for 6 months to a year. You hardly ever hear that. And that's a lot of what's going on. So that's just kind of what, I'm putting out there. He not saying nothing. I'm blaming people failures on cheap freight. It's a big part of it. Yeah. Yes. Not knowing your costs, running loads that are not profitable is one of the main reasons why individuals are failing. Yes. So Gold Logistics, you correct. I am saying that that's a big part of why individuals are failing by the freight that they are choosing to run or not to. So you got me on that one. Manny the driver said cheap freight doesn't exist. I think it is a lot about comprehension. So I agree with that. It is everything is about comprehension. Okay, I think I'm at the end. Mark said, "Y'all run for Amazon. Are y'all holding Amazon accountable for putting so many small businesses out of business? Ask them that tonight when y'all there." I would say that Amazon has put. I mean, people put themselves out of business. I ain't gonna blame Amazon because it's the lows that individuals are choosing to run. That's the whole point I'm making. So I don't blame Amazon. I don't blame the brokers. Like I said, to me, it all goes back to the miseducation of individuals. And this is why they book the lows that they book and end up in the situations that they end up in. I mean, that's just what it is. I mean, I don't think it's a Amazon or Progressive or it's the operator not doing the work. And like I said, it directly dates back or relates back to discipline. Like, and like I said, buckling down and doing what you need to do to be profitable. I don't blame Amazon because a lot of the changes that Amazon's implemented is a direct reaction of what some of the carriers have done, that's caused this. And I've talked about a lot of that as well. It's not Amazon that, you know, everything 2 years ago, the system was sweet. Now, like I said, AI is all through everything. They got their hands in everything. So it just kind of is what it is. Mark say, can't point the finger when y'all run lows for a company that stepped on. And I mean, Amazon gonna do what they can do. I mean, if people are taking the freight and they don't know their costs, then if I was Amazon, I'd do it too. Like I said, I can't blame them. I mean, people kind of stepping on their own necks for real, to tell you the truth. Individuals are, putting themselves in these situations. And a lot of people came out and started trucking companies to specifically run Amazon. And now everything is changing. So, I mean, it just kind of is what it is. It's always going to be in the business owners, operators, too. Dragonfly, you've been deep in the chat today. I'm just saying we need to. Well, yeah, we approaching like 3.5 hours. I think I went through most of these comments here. If you here and you have not hit the like button, please do so before you exit. And I'm sure it's coming up again. I mean, it ain't going away. So whatever we got to do to sort this out, and if we gonna do the debate, let's do it. I'm not ducking no smoke. That's how we gonna end, this live stream. I'm not ducking no smoke. We could have a debate. Right after this, I'm gonna educate. I'm gonna show y'all I'm gonna educate myself. Next time I come up here and y'all get to trying to talk about drop the link, I'm gonna drop it. Like it's nothing. I don't do that. I didn't come up here prepared for that. So it is what it is. But like I said, this topic ain't going away, and we got to figure out some type of way to figure all of this out. So whatever got to happen, it got to happen. I mean, it won't be the first time. And to me, that's what the space is for, to open up these conversations. And I'm glad to be able to do it. Somebody got to do it. Somebody got to be the bad guy. So if I got to take the flack, you know, from whoever about whatever, then so be it. It is what it is. But somebody got to speak up and say something. If hey, who better than me? So it just is what it is. But let's see. Y'all still going on and on here. Mark said he never promoted anyone to run at a loss. He said, take what you. Yeah. Yeah, this ain't this debate. I don't think this debate ending no time soon. So I'm glad I was able to touch on it again. And hopefully me and Mark could get together. Maybe, you know, we could do a debate live in the coming future. I got a little more time on my hand. Like I said, ain't no issue. So I mean, it's whatever. But yeah, we've been here damn near I'm not going past 3.5 hours. This will be my longest stream ever. If you here, haven't hit the like button, hit the like button. If you come in, you grace the stream afterwards, you make it to this point, please hit the like button for me. Subscribe to the channel. And I'll be back within a week or so. And yeah, we're gonna figure something out with this cheap freight debate. Cause like I said, I've been hearing and I can see that it's still alive and well. I mean, these are bigger streams for me. So it's definitely, engagement and interest in the topic. So yeah, I definitely see that. Des Marie, appreciate you for gracing the stream. Right. Look for them contracts. Don't just depend on Amazon. It's a lot of work out here, but that's what I'm saying. Amazon, cool, but you're going to have a backup plan. So, like I said, she's doing the right thing. Her authority going active. She already looking for contracts. Local, try to do some regional, talk to some brokers, get DAT, include Amazon as well. You're going to need gig apps, Curry, Mothership. That's what you're going to have to do to be successful. You're not going to do it running one lane or coming in and just strictly running with Amazon. It's not going to happen. So I'm glad that, she's putting that out there that, yeah, definitely be looking for something else to do other than Amazon. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and end this because this ain't like y'all. This one here, this is just gonna keep going on and on. They just keep rolling in. So I definitely appreciate y'all 100% for being here with me tonight. And yeah, I'm gonna wrap it up. But we'll figure something out on this cheap freight debate. But until then, man, I appreciate all y'all. Y'all have a good night and stay safe out there. Peace.